What's up and welcome back to Kinda Funny's Alien and Predator in Review. That's right, we are ranking and reviewing and recapping every Alien, Predator, and Alien versus Predator movie. A lot of people getting cute. A lot of people like, Andy, what about Prometheus Bob? And I'm like, we're gonna fucking do that one too, okay? Don't worry. Don't worry.
Is that a Nickelodeon reference?
Yeah,
oh my God.
Kablam.
Kablam. Wow. Yeah, that was a time.
We'll do Prometheus. We'll do, what's the other one with a different name? Oh, no, Covenant was Alien Covenant. It was Alien. We're going to do it. Of course we're going to do it.
I learned Covenant existed a couple days ago.
Yeah?
I was like, wow, they put Fassbender in a different one. I didn't know that.
I mean, I don't know much about it, but we're going to learn together.
They're awful.
Everybody. Of course, I'm Tim Geddes. I'm joined by...
Hold your tongue. Grab it, and grab your tongue. Okay, Prometheus. Grab it and bite it, Kevin. Okay, Prometheus, not a great movie, but a cool movie.
Yeah, that's what I remember. I saw that shit in theaters. I was like, not a great movie, but a cool movie.
Yeah, cool visuals.
One day Andy Cortez is going to say the exact same thing. Of course, this is Andy Cortez.
Hello.
He's here.
I don't know. So they're doing something right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's 1:08. We were supposed to start at 1 p.m. You know, Nick and Greg, the most awaited in review series of all time. And it's like, where are they? Why are they not here?
Yeah.
They loved the first movie.
It can't be for good reasons.
It can't be. It
God
feels
forbid
nefarious.
we try to elevate the content. God forbid we try to make art.
Why are they behind us?
They're in the walls. They're in the
Tim,
ducks.
Tim,
Yes, Greg?
Tim, will you please introduce me?
Of course, Greg Miller, everybody.
Greg Miller.
Holy.
They lied to us. It sounds like Watto.
The aliens don't really say anything, so it's very hard to have like a sound effect to indicate to the audience I'm dressed as an alien.
Wow.
This is so movie accurate. It's kind of wild.
Hold on.
Wow. That's really good. It looks
You
just
also
like
kind of look like Venom from Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
You know?
But what I do love it, I love the red light sort of shining down on
Why
it.
is he on both chairs? Why is he on both chairs?
Well, I'm a big man.
He's in
Kevin,
character.
I gotta, I'm getting a lot.
He's gonna knock a chair over and break that into you all.
Little tail, man.
If you take off that mask, it looks like he just got off a motorcycle.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like a fucking cat with a hairball.
Look at his tail.
Why don't you introduce my compatriot in arms, Nick Scarpino?
And I guess welcome to the stage. God, what's this going to be? Nick Scarpino.
Audio listeners, you need to watch this. Where I see some movement stage left.
Jonesy.
Oh God.
Jonesy. You stay home this time, Jonesy. You stay home.
Oh my God, that was the best thing it could have possibly been. I thought he was going to be Newt. I'm so happy.
We thought they were both going to be colonial marines.
We had to lie. We didn't want you to know. We couldn't say, hey.
Is it Garfield?
Yeah, it's Garfield.
It is Garfield.
Technically, legally, it is just an orange cat
Okay,
costume. I
got
don't
it.
believe they have the Garfield license for this.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Well, we got the whole crew together. We can finally talk about one of the greatest sci-fi films of all time.
I'm gonna get my glasses. I had to leave them backstage.
Go for it. Go for
Ooh,
it.
careful.
There was a
God.
moment where
Watching him just walk normal. Like, it's one thing when he's in character, but just seeing a normal pedestrian walk across the stage.
God.
Oh, God.
There was
You're
a
way
moment-
too pleased with yourself, Nick.
Yeah.
there was a
You in
moment
cat costumes.
where Greg was like, "We're gonna do this," and I was like, "You know, people really look forward to this one, so we can't fuck it up." And I think we nailed it.
You nailed it. Unfortunately, you nailed it.
I think you did a great job. Yeah, I was not expecting it. I thought they were just going to look like some Halo grunts. you know?
Yeah. Oh, man, everybody. This is Kinda Funny's In Review. Each and every week, we get together to rank, review, and recap different movie franchises. Of course, we have started Alien and Predator in review. And throughout the year, we're going to be continuing to do this. But there's a lot of other in review franchises we need to make little pit stops for. So it'll be broken up as best as we can. And we're trying to make as much sense of it. We're going to get them all in the next couple weeks. Like there's a lot of back-to-back runs of Alien stuff. So don't fret, my friends. But next week and the week after, we're returning to where it all began, the MCU in review. Remember, starting with this franchise, we're going to be having a new system of how we vote. Everybody will give me their ranked lists before the show. I will tally everything up, and then we will already have the answer. It'll be everyone's list combined. It's math, it's numbers, and it's going to make everybody happy, and no single person will have any ability to complain about the final list.
This is scientific. It's no longer Tim just taking a beer swig and going, "Oh well, it's 2v2. The majority has it."
Let me throw a dart at the fucking board. What does it land on?
I hate you all so
I'm glad I
fucking
brought
much.
order
Whatever.
back to this series.
You get this now, then you're still going to shit on me somehow for how this all shakes out. But yeah, so that's going to start with Alien here. But next week, we're doing the Great Marvel Re-Rank. We're going to be using that new system. Each one of us is going to painstakingly, and I want all you to listen to this, painstakingly take a lot of time to look through every Marvel movie, every single Marvel movie we've ever reviewed, and to make your ranked lists. And I want you to care, because if you fuck up your list now, you can't change it. This is your one time, your one shot, one opportunity.
I found a pretty good resource for this. Now, it doesn't, unfortunately, include a lot of the
IMDb.
multiverse stuff. No, I found a good resource that does the either or thing.
Yeah.
It'll take you through the whole thing.
Okay.
It takes about like 10 minutes, but it's like, would you rather watch Civil War
Yeah.
or goddamn Black Widow? And you go Civil War. And there's, would you rather watch Civil War or Winter Soldier? And then you're like, I gotta shut down my computer. I can't make this decision right now. But
Yeah.
after all of it, then it shows you your rankings. You're like, wow, that's it.
That's
Nailed
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so if that's how you want to do it, Andy, go for it.
Mhm.
That might be very helpful to someone like Nick. You know what I mean?
He's
This,
insulting you.
might be very, no, I'm just, I'm
But
just saying.
but the multiverse wasn't included, so then you would have to take the multiverse saga and kind of like just dump it in there.
Yeah, we're gonna figure it out. It's gonna be a great time. But that's next week's episode, is going to be us debuting our personal lists and then the updated list that we will use going forward for the MCU, which will be updated very quickly, because the following week we're back, baby. The first MCU movie of 2025, Captain America: Brave New World. We will be ranking, reviewing, and recapping it. It's going to be a great time. Then after that, we return to Alien. We got Predator, Predator 2, Alien 3, and then Alien Resurrection, back to back to back to back. It's going to be a great time, I hope.
This is an off-camera T'Challa glove. Just moving its head.
They sewed the fingers together to make it very accurate.
Oh god.
Oh, my Lord. Shout out to our Patreon producers, James Hastings, Casey, Andrew, Carl, Jacobs. Today we're brought to you by BetterHelp and Built Rewards, but we'll tell you all about that later. Let's get into it. Aliens. Released on July 18th, 1986. Directed by Jimmy C. James Cameron, one of the greatest goddamn directors of all time. I'm going to say it if no one else will.
I'm glad
know?
you said it. I'm glad
Yeah.
you said it. Titanic, this, fantastic. Terminator,
Come on. Killer stuff.
sucks that he started falling off.
James Horner is the man behind the music. R.I.P. R.I.P.
Oh,
One of the
I know
goats.
this.
We don't give this goat as much credit as Michael Giacchino or some of the others, the John Williams
Or the
of the
Zims.
world, or Hans Zimmer. But like the ridiculous discography here. Of course, the Avatar movies and the Rocketeer, Nick. Of course, the Amazing Spider-Man movies that have a great soundtrack, and then this, and
What
pretty much all of Cameron's movies.
What instruments did he play?
I don't know.
Horns.
Come on.
Come on. This one had a budget of $18.5 million. And this is a weird one. Normally, the box office will just be one number. Every once in a while, it's like a range, but the range is normally like 5 million. And it's like, there's discrepancies. On Wikipedia, the box office says it earned between $131 and $183 million during its theatrical
Different
run.
time.
The
yeah.
80s, a lot. You kept the money in just a wooden box. And you
Yeah.
threw it in the
Is
river
any of that
sometimes.
accounting for like re-releases, like theatrical releases? And
Yes,
stuff like that?
it
Yeah,
is,
So maybe
it
that's
is.
a weird kind of.
But that's when we were
itchiness
debating on
there.
going to the pound. We didn't know. A lot of money.
Oh
was
yeah,
thrown out.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think it meant like we're gonna get a cat at the pound.
Oh no.
I'm interested in what the highest box office movies were in 1986. Nick, do you have an idea?
86?
Yeah.
No, I don't, because Ghostbusters is 84.
84.
No,
That's
couldn't
all we
tell
know.
you.
All we know is Ghostbusters.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Aliens.
Aliens had to have been the top.
I mean, no, it wasn't even close.
Really?
Looking at this, looks like it was at number 29.
Whoa.
Wait,
Hold on.
this is fucking
That
weird.
can't
Why
be
is it all
right.
broken up this
Yeah.
way?
Why are there 3 different?
On films.
This is why we
oh, no,
give
no,
money
no,
to
no, no.
Wikipedia. You know, the Wikipedia is
Oh,
always begging
20
me for
highest
money. I
grossing
say,
movies
organize it
of
right.
1986.
Organize it right, or you don't get a goddamn cent.
Top Gun. Beat it.
There we go.
Crocodile Dundee.
People love Dundee.
Karate Kid Part 2. go to
Platoon,
Japan.
Karate Kid Part 2, Star Trek, The Voyage Home. That's a great Star Trek movie. And Back to School, of course. And then Aliens was looks like at number 7. came in number 7.
Oh, I see
Back to
five.
School
Beating out The
Aliens.
Golden Child, which is a lesser known and not great Eddie Murphy movie. And then
Ferris
Ferris
Bueller's
Bueller's
Day
Day Off coming in at number 10, top
Yeah,
10.
okay. Gotta love that.
People didn't
I
like
think
that
Kevin's
Slacker
got
Kid as
pissed at
much
me
as
for
they
that.
do
My
now.
take on Golden Child.
Revisionist history with that slacker.
Aliens received 2 awards at the 1987 Academy Awards: Best Sound Effects and Editing, and Best Visual Effects. Weaver was nominated for Best Actress but did not win. The film garnered 4 other nominations: Best Original Score, Best Art Director, Best Editing, and Best Sound. Nick, I feel like it's only right to start with you on this one. Tell me about your thoughts on Aliens.
This movie is amazing. It is an instant classic. It is pretty much a masterclass on how to make an awesome sci-fi sequel, and I think it really sets the standard for sequels, because this movie has a lot of the DNA from the first, but departs in all the right ways. Namely, it departs in the genre of the film. It's not sci-fi horror. It is basically a sci-fi action, and it's a war movie. And I think, growing up, this was my touchstone to the Aliens franchise. Like I've talked about before, the rainy day. Anytime there was a rainy day in the late 80s, my brother and I would strap on our PVC pipe gear, and we would run out there, and we would just pretend like we were going into the HQ for the first time. Where it was like I would be Hudson, and I'd have to do the little thing, and he'd be like, Hudson, rewire the thing. So all that stuff is, it's just an instantly iconic movie with great performances and just incredible artistry of effects that I guess technically still hold up today. I mean, there has been a little bit of magic in the 4K.
Yeah, did y'all watch the 4K version of this?
I don't
Last
think
watch
you
was on
cannot.
Peacock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 4K, not the best work.
Was that the Peacock version?
It's all the versions.
I don't know.
now, I think.
I watched it on 4K Blu-ray, and it was like,
Did they cut
upsetting.
to black a lot on yours?
That's
Yeah.
the Peacock. That's because they baked in commercials for that. We watched it on Discord with Mike.
stupid.
If you rent it
Very
on,
weird.
if you rent it on like any of the other platforms.
Yeah, there's
they
no
don't do that.
commercials on my Peacock though, so just like
It
dip
just
to
cuts
black
the
and
black.
come back. And
Yeah.
Jen and I were like, "This is clearly they're trying to put commercials." But was the movie originally like?
No,
Very
it was
weird.
not like
It felt like
that.
the
It was not done in
TNT cut.
chapters.
Yeah, 100%.
But I love this film, and to me, I think this is sort of the epitome of what sci-fi action should be. And every movie, you can see so much DNA come from this movie. You can see so much of like Halo, so much of all these things that we love and grew up with. You start tracing that back, and it all comes from these 2 films, Alien and Aliens. I've watched this movie multiple times. It's always a treat to go back to watching it again. I loved watching it last night with Dee. She hasn't seen it in a while, and it's still a movie that creates a tremendous amount of tension. Is perfectly paced. If you watch the theatrical release, if you watch the extended cut, it's a little too long in my opinion. And it's just a banger of a film.
Gregory,
Hi Tim,
hello.
how are you?
I'm really, really good.
I'm glad to have you back. Aliens, man. Again, similar to Nick, this was my original touchstone to Aliens as well, or the universe, you know what I mean? Because, of course, Michael Biehn, we were Terminator kids. We love that Terminator. So we were like, you know what, let's go follow him. Kyle Reese over here, see what he's up to. And we fell in love. Same thing, Colonial Marines. You're running around, you're shooting on the stuff, you're chasing the aliens. I have not seen the movie as an adult either in a long, long time. So to sit down and watch it again and get it uncut, with the exception of these dips to black for some reason, because Peacock sucks, except for This Is Awesome, great show you should watch. I just had a great time. And I think that's what it is. Echo everything Nick said, because it is, man, what a blueprint for what a sequel. I don't know if it should be, but can be, right? I think now we're so great about, hey, we're doing sequels and it's a new take, but it's got the bones of it, or the touchstones are there. Whereas this one, hey, we're going to pick up exactly where we left off. We're going to be the same characters. We are going to answer the questions that not only you would have when you walked out of the theater about where Ripley would be going and what the world would be like, but what the world like from where she left, which I think is so powerful, so cool. Also, we introduced these aliens. Let's explore that. Let's get in there. Let's take it in a different direction, because again, it is quite different than the sci-fi horror we had before to have the sci-fi action here. I'm interested to see where it ranks. I think that's going to be a fun conversation when we get to that. But just a quintessential 80s movie. You know what I mean? When me and my friends are sitting there and we're watching Terminator, and we're watching Terminator 2, and we're watching this, and we're watching Predator, we're watching, not Platoon, what am I, the other, Commando.
Commando, yeah.
Schwarzenegger.
Like Full Metal
All the
Jacket.
Schwarzenegger. Yeah, I know, right? Me and my
Friends,
not 10-year-old. What's
hardcore
your major
commentaries on
malfunction?
Vietnam.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. No, like just a film that is like, man, what a great time capsule of its time in filmmaking.
Andy.
Yeah, the movies. This is my first time like watching it kind of in its entirety ever. apart from just seeing a bunch of clips as a kid. And it's obvious that there's like a totally different methodology to the filmmaking. It doesn't. When I watched Alien and then we did the review, and I was like, man, they don't make them like they used to. And that's where scenes just go on a little too long. And they let you sit in certain moments for way too long, and they just sort of like let you get engrossed in the environment. And I love that for it, but obviously this feel like there weren't a whole lot of moments watching this where I was like every frame of painting like an Alien 1, but this movie is just like so fucking perfect. Like I didn't know y'all had it like this back in the day, you know?
Oh yeah, bro.
I was
That's
an
what we grew
88
up
baby.
on. Sorry, dog.
Like holy shit. I'm thinking back to watching Terminator 2 for our Terminator review, and that being my first time as an adult watching, like, holy shit, what a great movie that was, and what an incredible achievement this is, in addition to what I think of the sequence with the eggs near the, like, that might be, like, if we were to rank our favorite parts in any movies we've done an in-review, that would be, like, a top fiver for me. That was so fucking perfect and cool, and I'm so happy I was surprised by a lot of what was happening in this movie. This movie kicks so much ass, and goddamn Stan the Man Winston. Like, holy shit. This dude was a legend to me growing up because I watched every goddamn HBO behind the movie, making the movie, whatever they called them, and always looking at the effects and him being involved in so many different IP. And it was just so fucking cool to see it like work in practice. I thought even though the movie cut to black, I thought it looked really good on Peacock. But I don't think it's the 4K one that I've seen a lot of people getting angry at Twitter where James Cameron is like
in the back smoking.
no, he's
digitally
like
altering and like
So mine was
overly correcting things.
background blurred stuff kind of like gets that AI look to
Yeah.
it. It just looks odd. Yeah,
the version I watched. I don't think it was as egregious as I had expected it to be, but it was very much like it looked closer to AI art that you see on Instagram than it did to what I remember the original looking like.
Gotcha.
There was zero grain, and it had been very much recolor corrected, which is unfortunate because I remember Aliens just sort of like being very hazy and very milky and kind of hard to see everything on purpose because when the aliens came out of the walls, it was that much scarier. And in this one, they are crystal clear when they start moving, and the colors are very, very vibrant.
So Greg.
And the skin tones are very, very plasticky. But I mean, I think the number one thing that people had complained about, at least what I saw anecdotally looking last night, where they were like, there's no grain in this. And I'm like, I don't necessarily care about the grain because a lot of things get degrained when they go to TV, when they go to streaming. Sure. But it is interesting to go back and look at the coloring. And I think that to me is sort of the biggest sin where I'm like, why is this so contrasty? Why are the reds pop so much? And there's definitely elements where you can tell they went in. Like, I never in my life noticed when she goes down into the sub basement for the third act, the pipes are like glowing red. I never saw that before. And I'm pretty sure they added that shit like later. I'm like, that's an interesting touch. But other than that, I don't think it's distracting, and I don't think it's distracting to the actual overall, effect of the film. I did think it was weird though, because I did this thing where I rented it on. I don't have Amazon. I rented it on Amazon, which I'm glad about because I didn't want the commercial breaks. And I was like, oh shit, it's in 16:9, technically 1.85. I was like, fuck, should I go? And I looked it up on Apple. I was like, maybe I'll rent it here again, and I just won't tell Tim I paid for it twice. But apparently, he shot it in 1.85. He shot it in like 16:9 basically because he didn't like. He had some problems with anamorphic lenses on Terminator.
Yeah.
And so this movie is actually, it's like Avengers where it's actually like
that makes, I mean, it felt that way. Yeah,
it's kind of weird.
I didn't realize it, but
it wasn't pan and scan. It was actually, that was the original aspect.
I just assumed that was the, especially with all the commercial breaks, I'm assuming this is the Paramount
Plus
4K
version. Version.
Yeah.
No, those are actually the frames, which is crazy.
Sigourney Weaver kicked ass.
35.
Of course.
Like, God bless Bill Paxton. I think because he's a name, if he wasn't a name and if he wasn't this legendary actor that we've known forever, and rest in peace, Bill Paxton. But if he wasn't him, I think I'd be giving him the same shit I felt last week about the lady who
Veronica?
was really scared in that first movie.
Really?
But it's like his line.
He's a whiny little guy in this one. Right?
He's just weird.
Oh, he's weird as hell. But it doesn't. It feels like a different movie, and it feels kind of like. But I still love it. But it really I just think back to all the times my dad quoting, game over, man. And another one that kind of immediately stuck out to me was, why don't you put her in charge? That's something that like my dad has been saying my whole life, and it was so funny to like
wait,
see it in action. Yeah.
It's your lexicon.
Yeah,
He
great
has,
movie.
he has one line. He has 4 iconic lines. There are 3. Drop your linen and start your grinning is another one that you hear all the time. But the one that I don't think I ever caught was when they walk into the sub basement for the first time, and Frost goes, "It's hot in here," and he goes, "Yeah, but it's a dry heat." And I'm like, that's just a fucking perfect little bit of comedic relief in this moment.
Great movie. Tim, what did you think?
I mean, I don't think there's ever been a time that I could just parrot everything each one of you said. Like, y'all nailed it. Like, this movie is such a success of a blockbuster. James Cameron has the damn stuff. Like, he just knows how to make a movie. And it might not be like the most fleshed out characters and whatever. He just knows how to deal with archetypes and have them go through a plot very well in a very entertaining way. And it's so funny, Andy, bringing up the Alien 1, like the atmosphere kind of being the most important thing. For this, it's like, while I agree that because Alien 1 had atmosphere as the focus and like the longer shots and stuff, it was artsy, so it's more like every frame of painting type stuff. But with this, every shot is intentional. Like, you are always guided to be looking at what you're supposed to be looking at. And while that it's less scary than the first one because of it being less horror and way more action, the tension is still there. And I just was completely like, I gave myself to this movie.
Oh,
you know,
nice.
like I just like completely gave into the experience of like, by the time we get towards the end and they rush out and the ship's gone, I'm like, you fucking android, you goddamn motherfucker. And then when he comes up, I'm like, yes, you know, it's like,
I was yelling by myself.
Yeah,
Just so
it's-
like, fucking God, he's a G, dude. Like,
Because she has that fucking moment where she goes, it's that one line where she goes, "Close your eyes," as the fucking queen's coming out, and then it just pops up, and it's that Horner sound, that swell of music.
oh my
Dude,
God.
You're like, get on the fucking ship.
when they escape, I had just paused a little while ago, and I looked at the time and I was like, "Where's get away from her, you bitch? Where is that?" And I was like, "Is that a different Alien movie?" And I looked, and I was like, "There's only 12 minutes left." But luckily, this is one of them 80 movies that just ends.
Dude, that's one of my bigger complaints of it. Like, this ending is like, okay, guys, like we could have done something. Like, I don't need everyone's okay, whatever. But like, give me something.
Give me the
You get nothing.
give me the Ellen Ripley, fucking Sulaco, blah blah blah.
Last
All of my
Final Fry with
yeah.
Sulaco.
Give me a little outro there.
Give me something. Yeah,
You don't need it, you know it.
That was a little weird,
she's
but
sleeping.
I didn't check the time at all, so I didn't know how much was left, and I just assumed the movie was ending. And this movie pulls a Top Gun Maverick of like, oh no, the big thing's done. We got one final, like, we gotta save Newt, we gotta
Goddamn
get
mech
out of
fight.
here, all that stuff. Mech fight.
Fucking mech fight.
I popped the fuck off when it first was
When it opens
revealed.
up.
Yeah, but
The
then it's
moment-
just
Yeah, I'm like,
this thing
I
would have
don't
killed
know
her.
that I love this
This
if
thing
I'm
would have
being
fucking
honest.
ripped her apart in
We
2
should
seconds.
have fast forwarded it, but
yeah,
the
cool
ten-
idea.
But I felt so much of the tension of we've seen so many of her homies get hurt by the acid, so I'm freaking out about that.
Yeah.
This goddamn tail stabbing her, the face, dude. Like, even though I totally feel you, there's a lot of slow moving there because it's hard
it
to do
is,
that,
yeah.
right? You got to maybe speed that up in post, and it'll look awkward.
They actually did.
They shot it in slow-mo,
Yeah,
yeah.
they shot a lot of it in really slow mo and speed it up. She had to like act really slow.
So like, I totally get where you're coming from, and I still felt the tension just because James Cameron
totally.
is that fucking great.
Yeah.
At that point, you're so invested in this character, this fight, trying to save Newt, trying to get out of there. Like, it doesn't matter.
I also think they make the queen just lumbering enough. Like, she doesn't move like the drones.
Yeah.
She's just lumbering enough where it's
She
like
knows how to use an elevator,
tank
though.
versus tank. Oh, she knows how to get on a plane too.
But she speeds after her.
Go. Yeah.
When Ripley runs to the elevator or to like the blast door or whatever, holy shit! As she pursues her, I was like, whoa, she's fucking fast.
Like
Got wheels.
This movie is unrelenting, right? It's perfectly paced. We only have a couple moments of quietness in there for those tender moments. But when Newt runs under the thing, and it's such a perfectly edited scene because Newt runs under the grate, and we're really invested because it's pulling the things out. And
Oh
she's
my God, I
screaming,
love
she's
this
screaming,
scene.
and you see Ripley go like, she basically screams hide and goes in, and the door closes. And when I first watched it, you didn't connect that's where.
Are you talking about as a kid?
As a kid, you
Okay.
didn't connect that's where the power loader comes out. Because why would you have thought about that? It was 2 hours earlier. So when that door comes up
Yeah.
with the backlight behind her, good-doom, and the perfect profile camera shot, and then you get the line.
Come on.
I saw so many mentions
Maybe the
on
best
Reddit of like, in the theaters in the 80s, everybody pops the
Fucking-
fuck
I'm sure.
Popped
Yeah.
off.
Shout out to my dad who
Birthed
was
you.
really
Half your DNA.
also really loves these movies, and like that's a reason why I know about them and have seen a lot of them, but just never front to back as an adult. But I told him we were doing this for in review, and he was like, "Oh, nice! I'm gonna watch it. That's awesome." And then he quoted Tim quote, "This thing looks like a double-sided dildo," with a little laughing emoji. Then he quoted Nick saying, "To me, it would have been the big guy in the chair." I don't know what that was referencing in the first Alien.
Oh, the
jockey.
navigator or
Oh,
whatever
yeah,
it's
right,
called.
right. And then he says the alien wasn't sleeping in the ship. He knew Sigourney was in there eventually, so he hid. But he blended into the air control system. And then I had to fight back. And I'm like,
Thank you.
look, I looked on the internet and I saw on Reddit. I'm sure a lot of our comments were telling us that, but I saw the thing on Reddit.
Big
where
argument in the comments.
8 years ago, somebody on Reddit said, I read this on a forum before someone had said the original life cycle was meant to be quite short. So it made sense that it was slow in this scene. Not sure of the source for the info, though. And then somebody replied saying, this is the correct answer. In the original script, the alien was supposed to have a short lifespan. You don't see it in the theatrical version, but in the extended cut, both Brett and Dallas are cocooned and transformed into eggs. The sluggishness of the alien on the lifeboat is due to it being quote-unquote old. There's an interview from the film crew somewhere, I'm too drunk to find it, that exists, but it exists, and it corroborates this. The sluggishness was on purpose. So that's why
We talked about this though last week.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah.
this, and then James Cameron had his own idea for it.
But we were
Well,
just...
they all suck. I'm going to be honest.
But yeah, but like in that moment, I'm like, well, why isn't it going after? And it's like,
Yeah, they're just not backed up by the reality. Of the
So,
film.
a lot
you
of
don't
it-
know that as the audience.
yeah.
It's
So
bullshit.
whatever was moved from the theatrical version
I'll
does
do
show
you
us.
a favor. I'm on your side. Andy's dad, get fucked.
You get fucked,
God.
Dad. Love you.
we love you.
We love you.
Yeah.
Bad opinions about aliens. But, you know.
Jesus. But yeah, this movie, like Greg was saying as a sequel, and Nick was saying this a little bit as well, like this is a Tim Getty's perfect type of movie. Let's take something that is so goddamn good and awesome like Alien and make a sequel to it that just takes the things we liked about it and just turns it up to 11 and makes it more fun and dives into the character. Start right away. We now have Ripley. She's a badass. You want to see her be a fucking badass? We're going to give that to you. And I love all the little like improvements that they made. Obviously, the obvious ones. Aliens. There's more of them, right? Like that's cool. And it's like last time we were hiding from them. Now we're hunting them down. We have all these cool ass weapons. The debut of these colonial marines. Like if Alien 1 was Metroid, it's like, oh, this is Halo.
bro.
And like, holy crap, that's cool. We still get a little Metroid though. The Queen. I'm like, it's the Queen from Super Metroid. What are we talking about here? Is anyone unique anymore, Nick? No, they
I
are
mean,
not.
hey,
It's-
man.
somebody sue Nintendo. But
been
yeah,
wanting
Is there any reason why goddamn freaking Ridley Scott didn't want to direct this? Do we know?
They didn't ask him.
Wait, isn't it just his jam? Like, what the fuck?
So that was a big point of contention, especially for when they
I
started
thought this
filming.
was his baby.
No, he directed it, and the producers were working with James Cameron at the time. I think he was writing some stuff for them. I think he was writing like Rambo: First Blood Part 2 or something like that for them. And they mentioned to him in passing that they were thinking about doing an Alien 2 was what they called it. And they were like, would you want to take just a pass at the script and like the story? And he wrote like 40, 50 pages for him of just like notes, and then had to move on. I think to shoot Terminator or something.
That's correct,
Like that. And then they loved it so much, they were like, hey, and because Terminator was such a big success, they were like, hey, would you want to direct this? And so Ridley's quoted as being like, they just never reached out to me. And
That's why
then
the British crew was so mean to him.
when they
Part
filmed,
one
in
reason.
Pinewood, and Sir Ridley Scott was like revered there because
Yeah.
he just fucking made Aliens like 6 years, 7 years earlier. So a lot of the crew that had worked with him was like, who is this asshole young American who brought American producers with him? And they
Americanized our fucking art film, our art horror
Yeah,
film.
they straight up
that if
did,
this
man.
was 40 years ago, A24 would have made it Alien.
Yeah, so it was a big there's a lot of if you watch any of the behind the scenes stuff like
Damn,
the
I
crew,
thought he
they
just
did not
relinquished
get
it.
along.
There's a great episode of movies that made us. When I watched, when we finished this, we immediately went and watched that again.
He tells
Very
a
cool.
story, Cameron, because Cameron is like, he's notorious for being an asshole, right? You've heard the stories about him, torturing Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet on Titanic, and how they're like, we're freezing in this water, and he goes, use it, shit like that. But the story of the British crew is that, unlike American crews that will just work 12 hours, the British crew is like, this is more of a job, and so they'd work from like 8 to 5. But there was he tells this story where he was like, we went through all this trouble of getting the nest sequence lit and the fog in.
So yeah,
and that took for fucking ever.
I was gonna say, yeah, like it's a sound stage, right? So they have to put all this fog in. This is told in the movies at Mavis, and so it's like hours of fogging this fucking place up to finally get it where they want.
And they're about to start, and as he's about to, I'm like, obviously, like, who knows timing, but as he's about to call action, the big doors open up, and the tea cart comes through.
Oh.
Because it's tea time, and
Oh,
the entire
the
crew
fog
just stops
leaves.
working, and they walk over there. He told another story, though, that wasn't in the movie that made us. It was an Aliens expansion, or Expanded, or whatever it is, the new documentary that just came out.
I was gonna be like, oh, the
Where
fog
he was
out of
like-
the tea. It sucks.
He's like, look, and this is Cameron's words. He was like, look, I could have maybe had a slightly softer touch with the crew. But at the time, I'm coming off I'm coming off a Terminator, and this has to work for
dope
me.
as fuck.
And he's like, I'm just he told the story of the tea cart, and then the next day the tea cart comes back and he goes, hold on, guys. And he walked to the front of the tea cart and he goes, how much for all this? She goes, what do you mean? He goes, all the tea, all the pastries, all this shit. And she goes, X amount of dollars. And one of the crew members was like, yeah, we just thought he was buying us all stuff to apologize for yesterday. He bought it all and he goes, now get back to work. And they were like, this is not working well. Like, he was like, admittedly,
Amazing.
not the right thing I should have done at the time. And so, yeah,
Wow.
that's crazy.
That kicks ass. Also, I remember in the past episode, Nick, or maybe it wasn't even in the last episode of Interview. Maybe you just sort of said it in passing, but you mentioned that you didn't even realize, oh, this movie was Aliens, plural.
Yeah.
And this whole time, I've heard that from many people. Everybody going, yeah, aliens, right? And I thought there was two aliens. Like
Not-
so
not
many
how well
aliens.
them.
There's so I thought there was just two.
Got
It was another point of contention.
They probably would have
because-
called it two aliens.
Well,
if it was just that.
they started it
furious.
as Alien 2. That was like the working title
Couple
for it.
of aliens.
And then Cameron came up, I guess, looked at the script and was like, same with Dan O'Bannon, where he just saw the word alien come through so many times. He kept seeing aliens pop through, and he was like, oh, we should just call this Aliens.
Cool.
And then there's a story, I don't know if it ever really happened or not, where when he pitched that title, he wrote, like when he was pitching the story of Alien 2, he wrote Alien, the S, and then a $sign through the S.
Fuck yeah. I mean, that's what this movie is.
Who
man.
knows if that's real or not?
Take your
but-
art film and fucking turn it. Here's the thing. Everyone's always like, oh, apples and oranges. You know what I mean? You can't compare them. You can compare them. Apples are better. Alien 2 is better than Alien 1.
Wow.
Oranges are good. Alien 1, very amazing. But come the
We'll
fuck
see how
on,
the vote's
man.
going.
Come the fuck on.
Wow. Come on. Next
Last thing I want to say before we get to the plot and stuff, James Cameron loves water, and he makes water look real good. Everything's dripping at all times, and when we
Impossible
have
wet.
Newt kind of like going through the water,
That sequence is
terrifying,
awesome.
so damn freaking good. And you look at Avatar, you look at Titanic, like this guy freaking gets water. And then
gets water.
On top of
Avatar, the Way of
Metroid
Water.
and Halo, the Metal Gear in this, like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? Like so much of this, like even just the way things are shot, I'm like, oh, this is Kojima.
Well, I mean,
We
throw up
know
the Metal
Kojima-
Gear box art, right? I mean, that of NES Metal Gear, like
It is Michael
it-
Bay.
it's Michael
No,
Bay.
yeah, it's wild, man. It's just like, man, video games are cool.
Technically, I think that's
but
Michael
they
Bay
should all get
contributed,
sued.
but-
Sue all the video games. Start
I
with
mean,
Nintendo.
but
I'd like to see you try.
yeah, I will.
There's also a character in that game that we played a while back.
I'm Michael Bean.
That game called Deadlock, where a character has sort of a turret gun that has that little harness thing. Like, oh,
the
man,
steady cam rig they used.
that's so sick. Really, really cool.
All right, everybody. It's time to get into the plot. But after, a word from our sponsors. This episode's brought to you by Built. If you're a renter, I'd start taking advantage of Built if I were you. Here's the thing. We earn points on groceries, travel, and practically everything else we buy. But we should also be earning points on rent, one of our biggest monthly expenses. Built changed the game by letting renters earn high-value points on rent and around their neighborhood. There's no cost to join Built, and as a member, you'll earn valuable points on rent and your everyday spending. Built points can be transferred to your favorite hotels and airlines, and even the ones you haven't heard of. There are over 500 airlines and 700,000 hotels and properties around the world you can redeem your Built points toward. Points can also be redeemed towards a future rent payment and unique experiences that only Built members can access. So, if you're not earning points on rent, my question is, why not? Start earning points on rent you're already paying by going to joinbuilt.com/kindafunny. That's joinbilt.com/kindafunny. Make sure to use our URL so they know that we sent you there. Joinbuilt.com/kindafunny to start earning points on your rent payments today. This episode's brought to you by BetterHelp. What do you want your 2025 story to be? Every January brings you 365 blank pages waiting to be filled in. In 2025, maybe you're ready for a plot twist, or maybe there's part of your story you've been wanting to revise. Life isn't about resolutions that fade by February. It's about picking up the pen and becoming the author of your own life. Think of therapy as your editorial partner, helping you write new chapters and create the meaningful story you deserve to live. Some of my best friends use BetterHelp, and they love how helpful it can be for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself. It isn't just for those who've experienced major trauma. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. And it serves over 5 million people worldwide. Write your story with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/kindafunny to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/kindafunny. BetterHelp.com/kindafunny.
Okay, let me get the lyrics. Spent a little bit too long.
It's been a while.
Last night working
First
on
off,
it.
while you look at that, we'll just admit I should wear this all the time.
You
look
should.
good.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
I
look
don't
really
need
good.
I don't know why this one's like impotent, needs Viagra, but like this one looks great. But I mean, like
You're getting
just
old.
I mean, like just in general, look how good I look.
Okay,
You look great.
Look how good he looks,
Kevin, buy me
everybody.
more of these.
buy more. All right, here's the plot song.
Ellen Ripley, she cannot sleep cause she has so much PTSD. Sees them in her dreams, she wants to fight them, wipe them all out, she'll be joined by colonial marines. She'll face the queen, all the xenomorphs, nuke them with a bomb. All the xenomorphs, they have a real big mom. Ah, look at all the xenomorphs. Ah, look at all the xenomorphs.
Thank you.
Killed it. Amazing, everybody. Amazing, Andy.
So good.
Thank you.
Welcome
I hope
to
we don't get claimed by the
Aliens.
Beatles.
You know, Andy, Paul McCartney can fucking come from.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
Welcome to Aliens, everybody. We begin where we left off. Ellen Ripley is hurtling through space in a very peaceful slumber in her little escape pod. A bunch of scavengers find it. It turns out they come in, they cut through the door because they pulled it up onto their ship. They go in there and they find Ellen Ripley there. They find life signs. They go, oh shit, it looks like we're not getting our payout. We then
She's there with Jonesy
Yeah, Jonesy.
in the thing, which like, there was a little bit of debate. We didn't really have the debate, but it was brought up and it was never answered. It was like, was Jonesy in a separate pod?
Future spoilers.
Yeah, which I
Well,
appreciate.
we all piped down.
I appreciate
Oh,
that.
thank you for that.
But yeah,
Well,
I
you
popped
want-
off.
You
I
want
was
to know what happens
excited.
next time? Alien 3? Let me tell you some things.
Two Jonesies.
We then jump right to her hospital room. Ellen Ripley is there, reunited with Jonesy, when the one, the only, Mad About You's Paul Reiser
What?
comes in.
I again, another great moment in one of the documentaries that I watched. Well, Paul Reiser was like, "Why the fuck was I in this movie?"
It's very funny, but I like
But
it.
he's perfect.
He's great in this movie.
Yeah.
He was like, I did one other movie. It was Beverly Hills Cop. My friend Eddie Murphy put me in that. And he was like, why was I? He's like, I shouldn't have been in this movie, but I was. He's perfect.
He kicked so much ass.
Movies that made us, he talks about the fact of like, oh, well, I think they wanted a villain who would subvert it, where you think, oh, he's such a little whiny guy. He wouldn't be the guy.
There's the thing whenever you watch old movies, you can always tell like that's an 80s actor with 80s acting line delivery. And you get that a lot in older movies and in this movie as well. Paul Reiser's acting in this movie just kind of like
Transcends.
it goes past a test of time,
Yeah.
It goes past
Yeah,
it.
I love the
Fantastic.
sequences later where even
It's
when he's
awesome.
caught, he just will not give it up.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, you guys are crazy. Like, motherfucker, we saw
Yeah.
you. We know you're
Like,
killing
listen
everyone.
to this. This is crazy. Like I love
Perfect.
it. He's
What's also
awesome.
crazy is I was obsessed with Mad About You as a kid. I watched Mad About You, with him and Helen Hunt.
Why?
And here's what I want you to know. I don't remember any plot line about Mad About You other than they were married, they were in love. Ray Romano, not Ray Morano's brother, but maybe that Brad guy was in it. And if not him, then I believe the whiny neurotic guy who's the whiny neurotic guy and everything, he was in it. And then the only plot line I ever remember from this show, and I watched every fucking episode of Mad About You at like 9 years old, was when Paul Reiser must have been a director and put cameras up in his house in like a joke of like who would want to watch this, but they were talking about reality television long before it happened. And it was that they threw away the coffee grounds and then they realized they were out of coffee filters. So Helen Hunt like was all nervous to be in front of the camera and take out the coffee.
Oh,
thing and
yeah,
dump it
yeah,
and
yeah,
reuse the filter.
yeah.
That's all I remember. I watched the entire show. I don't remember anything else about it.
Couldn't tell you either.
I also love Caroline
How
at the
old
City.
are you? What?
9-ish. I don't know when. Well, hold on.
Why?
Everybody, let's get a quick fact check on when Mad About You happened.
I wanted to fucking
the early
throw
90s,
up when
right?
those shows were on
Yeah,
TV.
I'm
I'm
mad
like, fuck
about
this,
you,
man.
dude.
Where's all that? Give
while
me
he's-
Hey Arnold.
While he's looking this up, I want to give a shout
Fucking
out to how
Dharma
this,
and Greg.
to how this movie starts.
1992. So I'm 9 years old watching Mad About You. It was just that thing, it's like we rolled out of the Simpsons
Richard
reruns or
Kind.
whatever.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. The
Rest in
neurotic guy.
peace.
Oh, I just saw him at a Sketchfest party.
We'd roll out of that one, you know what I mean? Yeah, we knew that. It was great. Still good name drop though. I like that. I like
Well, that's
it.
for the audience, so they know I'm cool.
I appreciate that. Yeah, you'd roll out of whatever, and my parents were going to watch NBC or whatever it was, and here we were. I'm watching Mad About You. I'm invested.
I hate that about you. I hate that about I'm mad about you.
What were you saying, Nick?
Oh, I was just
About the movie?
just to reiterate the intro for this, right? Just that subtle like melody that Horner does at the beginning of
I thought you were
this.
talking about the Mad About You song.
As a no, I don't remember that.
I'm mad about you. Do something, baby.
As the
Mad
the
about
ship is sort
you.
of we kind of fade down and we see the ship as it's slowly coming toward us, the starscape, all that stuff. It's subtle, it's simple, but the sound is just so sad.
Yeah.
And it draws you instantly into where we're
I-
at.
I was
Cool
reading-
design for a ship.
I was reading about it too. That based on the
What is that
score from Terminator, Cameron was able to more quickly like edit sounds to like fit like the scenes. And when Horner scored this, there was no footage for him
Yeah,
because they were still shooting it. So using synth effects and stuff allowed them to kind of like be a little bit more, which at the time was unique, hands-on with like scene to scene, actually like tweaking based on how the edit
that's
was, which is
cool.
pretty cool.
That's cool.
Here, let's listen on the Mad About You theme song.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, I definitely remember that.
This is gonna get us claimed so hard. This is gonna get us Mr. Bucketed. I don't love you like I do.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. They don't
Andy,
make
get
them
mad.
Andy,
like
as a
they
fellow
used to,
fucking
I
music
guess.
savant, you should be like, I'm vibing.
But just like a 9-year-old being like,
mad, bro.
nice. Like, this is awesome.
Oh my god, I gotta go.
I really liked this opening scene showing us Earth because I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
Like seeing the first movie, like we know they're going back to Earth. We know that they're in our universe at the very least. Like seeing it though and seeing how close they were and hearing them talk about it, it grounds this movie a bit. And then especially see the Marines, I'm like, these feel like real humans. You know what I mean? As opposed to like, oh, this is some crazy ass future shit that's like impossible.
That I don't even have a touchstone to.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like so I thought that was really cool. I thought we were gonna go to Earth. We didn't.
We did, well,
Earth.
technically we did, but we're in the stars.
Yeah, I guess.
Isn't she floating
yeah.
above her?
Yeah.
And I
Yes,
love
you're
that
not
line too. When
in
she wakes up, she goes, "Where am I? I don't recognize this station."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Well, they built it in the time you were gone." And she's like, "Well, how long have I been gone for?"
Come on.
Crazy.
It's so
57
cool.
years. Nobody
And
told him.
That's the type of like plot point that like must have blew people's minds
Yeah,
back
totally.
then, right? Like now it's like, okay, cool, classic tales old as time, but like that's so sick.
She Captain American.
Again, for me, I had only watched this one, so I was like, "That's cool."
Yeah.
I wonder where. And then I'm like, "I wonder where she was before." I had no idea.
So yeah, we've covered most of the plot points here, right? Reunited with Jonesy, Burke shows up. He seems like a good guy, right? And then he mentions the times that you've been gone. What do you mean? You've been asleep for 57 years. She starts to freak out as you'd expect one does, but it's not that, Andy. It's in here. All right? That's right. She's got an alien in her. Starts doing the thing. She's thrashing about. We all know what's happening, but Burke doesn't know it. Alien pops out.
Kill a cat.
Yeah.
You have to put on the hood. You have to put on the hood.
Yeah. Hold on, there it is.
There it is.
Thank you.
It's a good
And of course,
impression.
then Ripley wakes up. It was a dream, everybody.
She's
She's sweaty. She's disgusting. she's
so
freaking out. The nurse comes over, like, do you need something to sleep? She goes, no, I've slept long enough.
I believed it for a second. I thought she was dead. And I was just like, I mean, 80s movies
What
are
a
fucking
swerve.
weird,
Yeah.
but like they could have done that shit.
Yeah. Drew
Where it was
Barrymore.
like, hey, we've got a bunch of action heroes now.
Nurse comes over the video too, which is cool. The merch. I love the use of video in this whole thing, just to kind of like just to distance people, but also create like levels of tension in the action.
Sick stuff.
From there, we jump into a conference room. A bunch of fucking suits are
I
there,
love it.
all right?
Such a James Cameron scene of like, look, we have a whole plot of a movie that we need to explain to people. Let's just have people talk and just say everything that happened.
How are they going to get the unobtainium?
And it's so good.
There's a great line in here, and this set me on a little bit of a rabbit hole last night, where they talked about the ship or the AI was made by Hyperdyne
Yeah.
systems.
Sounds a lot like Cyberknife.
Sounds a lot like Cyberdyne, which is interesting.
Terminator.
So people are
Oh.
thinking that there are fan theories out there that this is an alternate universe where Skynet never took over, or it's another one of the futures when because they saved it, they didn't take over, and Cyberdyne became Hyperdyne, and instead of making Terminators, they made badass artificial
Androids?
life forms. Yeah,
That's cool.
Dude,
crazy.
I love that.
Which means that technically, if that was true, Terminator, Blade Runner, and Alien and Predator will all be in the same universe. It'd be
Yeah.
fucking nuts.
Alien versus
Multiverse,
Predator versus
yeah.
Terminator versus Blade Runner.
I love this. Let's go. Let's keep going.
Of course, it's a bunch of men not believing this pretty little lady. She, of course, tries to run. She tells them the story multiple times. They've been there 3 hours. Same thing. And they're like, well, it's hard to believe this is a multi-million-dollar ship you blew up, and we just can't let that go. This got a chuckle out of Jen that they keep saying multi-million.
It was like that ship cost $47 million, and me and Daniel laughed.
Yeah,
It'd be
totally.
trillions of dollars now.
Yeah, of
Trillions.
But yeah, a bunch of conversations here about not believing her. She has the great line, did IQs drop while I was away? And there's no, obviously, actual physical evidence that there were aliens afoot.
blew that
when
shit
all said-
up.
yeah, she did, yeah.
Because they sucked that thing out of the airlock.
Yep.
So cool. I feel like all of this as like the premise of this movie is just so inherently interesting that I was just so invested off the jump of like her story and like how she's going to deal with this because we just saw what happened.
Yeah.
And like, I can't even imagine watching this movie not seeing the first one. Like that would have been crazy. Like the fact that the first movie exists and then there's this is like so special.
But then there's the great thing, right, where she's like, listen, I'm not crazy. Send people to LV 426 right now. And they'll and he's like, hey, lady, we've had people there for years, decades at this point.
Yeah.
It's like, what? And she's like, there's a colony up on LV 426. They're totally fine. How many families are there? She gets the answer eventually. Right? And he's like, I don't know, 70 families or something. Like, there's people up there. They're living fine. Nobody's recorded any kind of weird
Won't see any
spiders.
monsters.
Yeah, exactly. And she goes, well, that fucking sucks. She goes back to her little shitty life now she has because her life sucks because she blew this thing up.
A great shot here, and this is if you ever wonder why James Cameron is amazing, this shot will indicate it. Right? We cut over to her and she's smoking a cigarette, and the ash is really really long. So she's been sitting there for a long time. But as the camera pans over, you realize her hair's cut. It's a perfect use of like just a visual passage of time. It's great.
So good.
All you got to know.
Where's Matt about you streaming? Roku? I don't want to get on Roku. Yeah, so she's there. She's cut her hair a lot of times past. Eventually, the one and only Burke shows up with Gorman. Guard your ears with Gorman ear guards. He's a shitty little fucking lieutenant or whatever. They knock on the door. She doesn't want to answer. She finally does. They come in. They drink some coffee. And Burke knows way too much, obviously, right? He's well aware that, hey, all you could get was this shitty forklift job. But guess what? We've actually lost contact with LV-426. We need to go up there. We're sending up Colonial Marines. These are some badass hombres. Bad hombres.
But we're only sending 10.
They got it.
We're not going to send anyone else. This is my only pet peeve with this movie is they're like, you look at the Sulaco when we get there, and it's huge.
There's
Why are there
there
only
are
10
thousands
people
of people.
on this?
Yeah.
Where are they're like, well, there's no one left in the ship to pilot the thing up. Why not? Why is there not a captain of that ship? Who's piloting the ship?
Nah, don't worry about it. Anyways, we're going to send these bad hombres up there to take care of this, to look into it. I'm sure it's nothing, but if it is something, we could use your expertise, your expert analysis. She says, not a fucking chance. Burke, of course, is like, I've read your psyche evals. She mentions it. And he's like, I know, I've read them. You keep waking up with these nightmares. You can't go to bed. This is your chance to do something with your life, overcome this dark fear. And of course, if you do this, I can get you flying again. I can get you back up there. She says, you shove it up your bum, get out of here, Gorman. Nobody wants your crap. Burke says, all right, fine. Take my really cool, though, transparent business card. And if you change your mind, let me know. Of course, what happens? She has a nightmare, wakes up from it. She says, she looks over at Jonesy. She's like, Jonesy, we can't keep having these nightmares. Jonesy's like, I'm pretty chill, actually. I'm fine.
good.
Jones like, for me, it was like 5 minutes of seeing this thing. I'm a cat.
cool.
I'm like a goldfish.
You guys are scary. He's scary. It's all scary. Doesn't it?
Yeah. You're all huge to me.
So she goes and dials in old Berkey in the middle of the night. He wakes up shirtless. He looks over his shoulder. He's fucking somebody.
Kind of a bizarre scene.
He's
you know what I
fucking
mean?
Somebody.
Like why is he shirtless?
Because he's sleeping.
sleeping.
And he was,
Just
or was
something,
he knocking
but
boots?
like I don't know, man. There's just something about it that just felt like put your clothes on before you answer a video call. You know what I mean?
Oh, he was
Well,
definitely sleepy.
it's from well, see, for me, he sees it's from Ripley, and he like jumps on it because he's
Yeah.
like, this is the opportunity. I know I've got
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
She's
Put your shirt on.
weak here. Yeah.
Put your shirt on.
Like
Put your shirt on Paul Reiser from Mad About You.
Anyways, she'll go up on one condition. We're not going up there to do any scientific shit. We're up there to kill him, right? And he goes,
Wipe
you have
them
my
all out.
word.
Not to
Yeah.
study them, not to bring them back. You're gonna kill them.
sick.
From there, yeah, we jump up to the old Sulaco.
Sulaco, of course. Do you know the etymology of this?
No.
This is so Nostromo was a book by Joseph Conrad. Sulaco was a port town in that book.
Oh.
So they borrowed that from there again.
Of course, it looks like a fucking pulse rifle.
That was by design, actually. So the original design of this was like more like a saucer, and Cameron was like, "No, I want it to look more like this, more like a rifle." And then they took that and kind of that's why they have those two kind of mirrored. But it's so fucking sick. He's like, I want it to be spiky and angular and always going forward because these guys are like attack.
And the other funny thing that they talk about in the movies that made us is, of course, that James Cameron tried to do this on a budget, do it on a song. So they only built the one side of the Sulaco. Yeah, nothing's on the other. So cool. You could just we're never going to shoot it from the other side. Just shoot it smart.
Which name is cooler? Rank the name of the ship.
Oh, I like this.
Nostromo's cooler.
Nostromo.
Way cooler.
I think the Sulaco is a cooler looking ship.
Yeah.
But Nostromo, way cooler. Yeah.
That's so sick.
It's awesome.
So we got Nostromo 1 and then
Sulaco. Sulaco.
I'm sorry. Fuck off. This is my gig. I do the list.
He's got the list.
You know what I mean?
Good.
Get out of here.
You know.
Oh, good.
Give Kitty its
You know
milk.
what's going to happen?
God,
We're 4 episodes into AVP's going to be like, well, no, we're not just saying which one we rank. It's a tie, 2v2.
One
so
of us
I'm
is
gonna
consistent.
I'm going to call Gia, and Gia will tell
Look
me what
back
to
at
do.
every episode of the show. One of us has been consistent. Only one of us, by the way.
I have the
The
Google
kitty's
Doc.
on the alien.
All right?
Yeah.
We're bros.
But then how, like, I'm not going to get into it.
I can cash the briefcase in right now.
How, is the bad guy actually, is he bad at being bad or is he bad? Like, how bad is he? It's like, I hate all of you. I don't hate you, though. I don't hate you,
Thanks,
Andy.
dude.
God.
Yeah, nobody hates tofu.
I'm glad you said that because I was
know what I
about to say, fuck off, Timmy. Greg's in charge of the list.
Hey, everybody, it's me, Greg. Tim's been gone for 3 days, and I have exerted my executive powers.
I'm glad you said that because I was about to, and then you go into it.
All right, back to your plot recap. So the Sulaco is in space. It's coming up on LV-426, and everybody starts waking up, and this is where we meet our merry band of space marines, of course. Of course, I think the first one to make a real impact is Hudson. Getting out is Bill Paxton. What? Yeah, he's fine. What did you do? They're all Marines.
He's like, what do you want me to bring you your slippers? He's like, would you?
Yeah.
Look into my eye.
And then, of course, just the most classic line, though, right? Of Vasquez immediately starts doing pull-ups. Yeah. Hey, Vasquez, anybody ever mistake you for a man?
No. Have they ever mistaken you?
Everybody pops up. And she immediately gets dapped up by Drake. And you're like, oh, you guys are the fucking homies. I don't even know you're the fucking gun people, but you're the
Damn,
homies.
Drake is the most supportive dude ever. Anytime she's got a fucking zinger, he's like, man, you're the fucking best.
Still like Mike's entire personality is based on Private Drake.
The Drake Vasquez connection in this is fucking powerful.
Yeah.
And I love that it's like any sexual dynamic is just not there. They are just comrades and friends, and they got each other's backs. And you see that later. Like, this sets it up so perfectly when they're in the room, and she has to give Apone the cartridge or whatever that thing is, and she looks at him, he's like, and she just takes another one out and gives it to him, and she's like, let's fucking rock.
All of this friends to this day, do you know, in real life?
Who?
Movies that Mavis, the actors. They bonded so hard doing this little bit, they're still best friends.
Do you recognize this actress from any other James Cameron movies? This would be a fun question. Does anyone recognize her from any other James Cameron movies?
Because I'm looking at her face right there.
Yeah, don't. She played the mom in Terminator 2.
The stepmom.
The stepmom. Wolfie's fine, honey.
Oh,
that's Jeanette Goldstein. Yeah, her name is Jeanette Goldstein.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, she was unfortunately cast as Vasquez, even though I don't think she is Hispanic in heritage at all.
Oh,
but
most definitely
she's
not, yeah.
awesome.
But that was another thing in the movie the movies that made us, is that they cast somebody else and then like fired her and grabbed her. But they wanted her, she was playing hardball or something, I forget.
Something like that.
One of my favorite things on listening to Dan Le Batard show talk about Scarface and how all the Cubans are it's just a bunch of like white dudes and Jewish dudes playing all the
She's in
Cubans.
Titanic. She's the old lady who, not the old lady, but the mom who like suffocates her kids, isn't she?
Oh, maybe.
No way.
Murders with Orton says she was also in with
Yeah,
Bill
she
Paxton
is.
in Near
Holy
Dark.
fucking shit. I never caught that before. Oh, and they're always on the paved
That's
when
cool.
the water's coming in.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, they never have nightmares. I don't know what the fuck she says to the kids, but
I
they're
don't
about to
remember
drown.
kids getting suffocated in Titanic.
Okay, so
it's
as you
implied?
know, on in review, sometimes I fill in my own hole in the plot.
I knew what you were talking about, though.
So there's a scene in Titanic when they're in steerage and they can't get out, and the mom puts her kids in. She's like, oh, and they are always paved with gold, and they always eat their cheese or whatever the fuck it is. And it's like, in my head, I'm like, that's a very sweet scene, but I know you couldn't drug them to make them sleep through their icy death they're drowning. So I was always like, in my head, I would have been like, oh, and the streets are paved with cheese and yabba dabba doo. Dude, kill him. Yeah, I'd be like, what? This isn't. Think about she's giving them all, 5 minutes of peace before the icy water reaches up over their bed. Like, Mom! And she's like, the cheese. I don't know.
I tried to put myself in a place of seeing a really dark scene of like, it's okay, children. I was like, man, I don't remember that in Titanic.
This is in the deleted scenes.
Don't tell me it doesn't make sense.
She's
though,
in that
you know what I
movie.
mean?
It's good. Yeah, it's a smart thing to infer that, I would say. Yeah.
Anyway,
Good call.
Vasquez, back to the character. Just in my opinion, and we don't need to rank this, so Andy, don't feel like you need to do a song for this.
I won't.
But I think she's the MVP of this movie.
I would agree.
I'll just throw that out there.
Really?
She keeps her cool. She has probably the biggest kill count in this film because she murders a ton of fucking aliens, and she sacrifices herself for the better part of the team.
I love it.
And she could do more pull-ups than me.
Yeah.
Give me a beat. Just. It's AVP, MVP, MVP. Nice. All right, Vasquez getting the AVP, MVP of this movie. Who was we never did it for? We gotta go back. It's got to make sense. Alien. Who was the MVP?
I mean, I'll give it to Parker or Ripley. Yeah.
I mean, are you trying to do like a underserved player?
Well, I don't think it could be Ripley. I don't think it could be the protagonist.
Okay.
I would say one of the side characters who's just kind of like holding it fucking down. And I think Parker from the first one, who's Yaphet Kotto, the guy who like beats the shit out of out of Ash.
Okay, sure.
He's the last one who's like, we should get the fuck out of here. And he's one of the last ones.
Okay, I won't argue that.
I'll throw that out there. Or Jonesy.
Hey,
no,
dude,
Jonesy fucking sucks.
I fucking love Jonesy. You were talking shit last week. And
I'm
I
talking
didn't
shit
understand
now.
why. I mean, show some goddamn respect. He's sitting right next to you. Okay.
Listen, Jonesy.
But this movie has a better
partner.
Jonesy.
Yeah, because
this might be
immediately
divisive.
get him out.
But Newt.
Newt is the Jonesy.
And I'm a Newt
Wow.
fan.
Newt's
I'm a Newt
awesome.
supporter. The Newt salute, baby.
The Newt salute.
I want to read this real quick.
Could have been lower. You had the choice. You could just drop it an octave. What? It's like Ave Maria.
Say.
Interview with the actress that played Vasquez here saying, I auditioned after Jim called me up and said, why don't you read the script, see if there's any roles you like? The granddaughter's been taken already. And I looked through it and I said, I want that role. When I tell people I was the Irish mother, they go, oh my God, I didn't even have a name. That mother, her focus was making sure her children were calm and happy, knowing they were going to die. I mean, my God, I'm getting chills right now. Those scenes are fantastic. The very last scene, putting them to bed, was in one way easy and one way hard. The easy thing was putting myself in that position because I'd gone through the big Los Angeles earthquake in 1994 when my oldest son was 5. I was a single parent. My son was in bed with me, and it felt like a bomb was going off. I got him out of bed and stood under the doorway, and he was asleep, and I was holding him, and I wanted to scream, but I didn't because the same thought that my character has in Titanic was in my head. We're all going to die. Let him die while sleeping. Don't scream. Holy shit.
That's insane.
That is insane.
That is a crazy thing to go through.
Yeah.
The other day we were in traffic and I looked back at Ben and I'm like, we're not going to make it. I started thinking of what I had to do, you know?
I don't know I really don't know how dark this is going to get. So I feel like we just move on this one.
We just had a red light. I was like, I don't think we're going to make it out of this one. A V P P P A V P P P Alien versus Predator preferred partner in the year 2025. We must decide who is the preferred partner in each of the AVP movies. Alien, we have said it is Jonesy. Aliens, we have said it is Newt. Report back later, soldier.
Lasers.
Preferred
I mean, the thing is,
Holy crap, we have fun here.
there didn't need to be a second P.
That's a preferred partner. There's a lot of partners. Anyways, we meet our motley crews. They defrost, get out. They're all in their own.
Big Avatar energy here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
With
yeah,
the
yeah.
whole cryo stuff. And maybe Avatar's in the same universe too. Fuck it.
And
Throw them all in there.
The same style,
Yeah.
obviously.
And we don't, no fucking songs. No way. Shout out to the Colonel, just period.
Apone?
Maybe just the dopest motherfucker
Sergeant?
of all time.
Apone?
Yeah, Sergeant. Yeah. So sad.
Real life sergeant in Vietnam.
Military leader. Where we gonna rank him?
I mean, he's number one.
Yeah,
man.
That's bad, Brown.
Oh, well, you mentioning the Avatar shit. this whole ship, watching Avatar back in the day, being like, man, that looks a lot like the Pelican from Halo, and then this ship looks like, like, oh shit, another kind of like military sort of style thing that looks like the Pelican from Halo. That obviously Halo's like kind of getting a bunch of influence from. So yeah,
Crazy.
Avatar could be it. Yeah.
From here, we go to the lunchroom. Everybody's going to grub down, right? Bill Paxton, a.k.a. Hudson, comes over, sits down next to Hicks. He's eating food. It's all crap, but they're talking about it. Bishop shows up, has cornbread. They take a little bit more. Why isn't this man eating cornbread? We'll find out in a second. There's also a conversation about what's wrong with that table. They're too good to eat with us because it's Gorman, who nobody knows. Of course, it's Ripley. It's Burke. It's a weird table.
Of course, this is an important touchstone, right? Because a lot of this movie, like metaphorically, is sort of indicative of Vietnam, right? And in Vietnam, there were stories of how lieutenants would come from like higher education. They'd come from like West Point, or they'd come from wherever the military academies were, and they'd come and they'd get all the grunts killed because they didn't know what the fuck they were doing.
Yeah.
And so the sergeants were always the ones that people really wanted to listen to. And that's why I think Cameron specifically said like, Apone really knows his shit. He's the only person that like can lead the squad. Gorman is just total, and we see that later when she's like, how many drops have you been on? He's like, 35. How many real ones? 2, including this one, and that was actually fairly accurate.
Then before Bishop can leave, they go, Bishop, do the thing or whatever. And he's like, I don't want to. No, you gotta do the thing. He goes, okay, and he pins Hudson's hand down, and does the knife.
That's
deal.
not cool, man.
And then they speed it up, and this is like, you want to talk about like an iconic fucking 80s film movie that transcended playgrounds and lunchrooms for the rest of time. Like, this is like probably the first thing I ever knew about aliens. Was this fucking thing because somebody in fucking St. Pat's was doing it.
I don't think I've ever seen Gia be more upset by something she's seen on screen. She couldn't handle this shit. And it just kept going faster. She's like, they need to stop. They need to fucking stop.
And he goes,
I was like, it was intense, but like, calm the fuck down.
Not cool, man.
Bishop stops, goes off, and sits down with all the higher echelon people and looks at his hand. A little bit of milk's coming out of it. And the one guy goes, I thought you never missed Bishop. And then Ripley fucking loses her mind. An android? Nobody told me there was an android on this ship. And Paul Reiser Burke's like, I want some of my mind. I totally forgot that you almost got killed by an android. He was giving titty twisters and everything, and we didn't say anything about it. Sorry.
If I were Bishop, I'd be like, I'm a synthetic life form. Give me a full head of hair. You know what I mean? Like, why are you giving me such a receding, weak hairline?
Could just go in and like put one on himself, right?
Like, help me out here.
I mean, part of it is to not to you want to help the humans, but you don't want to do this.
You don't want to look too perfect, I guess.
Oh, that's a good piece of trivia Kevin pulled up. So he's reading it. And then in 86, the knife trick scene was originally going to be done by Bishop Lane alone. Hendrickson suggested to the director, James Cameron, to have Hudson, Bill Paxton, put his hand on top of his, and Cameron agreed. Everyone on the set was told except for Bill Paxton.
That's fun.
So you get a kind of a real reaction.
I don't like that. I wouldn't like that. I wouldn't like that. I want to trust you, Jim Cameron.
You know what I like? Fucking Reeboks. Reeboks are cool. Reeboks in movies, always cool. And I love they never really like give you the glamour shot of them, but I kind of like you catch little glimpses here and there.
Well, you get a glamour shot when she walks in, when she steps into the AP or the loader.
I was distracted by the fucking loader.
Yeah, that reminded me of the intergalactic scene with the Adidas in that trailer.
Good call. Yeah.
Anyways, Bishop apologizes. There's a whole conversation about what actually happened. He goes, oh, that was an older model. They were always twitchy. I'm way different. I have rules. I can never hurt a human, even if I wanted to, or inadvertently or whatever. And he's like, do you want some cornbread? She knocks it. Stay the fuck away from me or whatever.
Fuck away from me, Bishop.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
And what a great way to sort of like set the groundwork for what will be an awesome kind of like just character
redemption
arc.
Moment.
Yeah,
for
awesome.
the AI, yeah.
So
my guy Bishop, man.
So then from here, it's time for the briefing. Of course, nobody knows what they're up there. What are they doing? What's going on? So they gather all the Marines up, and they're all being pals and fucking big dick energy. Even Vasquez, everybody's just they got big dicks. They're having a great time swinging the big dicks around, touching them. They're veiny. And they're talking about being big dicks.
That's a big dick.
Yeah.
So stopping for a second. So in the first movie, I was like, I don't know where we're at with extraterrestrial life in this, right? I don't understand it. We get some hints in this one though that they have seen other species of, namely bugs, right?
Another bug hunt.
And then the ship's called the Bug Stomper and stuff like that. So I don't know. I still haven't looked this up, and maybe the live chat can key us in. But I just don't know where we're at with. Do they know about aliens? Have they seen something like this? Because
because my read on it was that like they were saying that like there wasn't that this was the first signs of aliens ever. I thought bugs literally meant bugs.
But maybe. But then there's a line in this where they're talking about Arturian poon or something like that. Yeah. Remember where he goes, I got to get some of that Arturian poon. And the guy goes, he has a little bit of transphobia there where he goes, well, the one you got with was a guy or a male. And then Frost goes, for Arturians, it doesn't matter. They're like they're neutral gender, or they're both genders or whatever. So that's got to be an alien.
I was
life
very
form, right?
confused by this as well because when they're like, all right, is this a bug hunt? I'm like, so you've
seen
never
bugs.
gone after these aliens before, but you're doing something similar out there.
Yeah, growing up, I just always until I watched it back this time, I just always assumed the colonial marines were like a military force to keep the colonies.
The
in check.
Arturians are a humanoid extraterrestrial species native to the planet Arcturus. I fucked that up. They were the first sentient alien species encountered by mankind, and humanity had established interspecies trade with them by the late 2100s. They are often confused with the Arctura, a separate species present on Arcturus.
There you go.
So there you go. Fun times, everybody.
They knew.
Anyways, what the fuck are we doing? Is this the what? Is this a whatever? And they lay it out. We are going to LV-426. We have lost contact with these colonists. Ripley is here because she has said it before or had dealt with them before. Ripley, give us the lowdown. Ripley gets about 2 seconds into her story, and like, and then it got on his face, and she's like, "I've heard enough. I'm going to shoot everything." Blah blah blah. And Ripley's like, "I really hope you're right," or whatever.
And then it's like, "Nice, dude."
Yeah.
Well, she has that great line where she goes, "I just need to know one thing. Where they are." And Drake's like, fuck yeah, whatever she just
Great
said was
fucking
sick.
line and great fucking performance and blocking of the camera. I love this shit.
And then they keep saying, all right, well, Ripley's thing is in your report or whatever. At this point, I would have been like, why the fuck am I here? What's the point? What's the point, Bert?
yeah,
you know what I
she
mean? You're not listening. You brought me up here. They don't want to listen to the story. I didn't get to John Hurt's fucking chest exploding. William Hurt, whoever.
John Hurt.
John Hurt? Yeah, William Hurt.
Body
Ross.
heat.
Yeah, Ross. Anyways, they climb into their little drop ship to get flown down to LV-426. It's going to be a bumpy ride, right? They come in there. Of course, fucking so badass, Michael Biehn.
Somebody wake
Asleep.
Hicks up.
Hicks is
He's
just
like,
asleep. This is what we were talking about earlier with Gorman. Like, oh, I've been on 37 or
Yeah.
whatever, too. Including they all like fucking roll their eyes and are pissed off about it or whatever.
The ship's dropping from other ships. So freaking
So
sick.
awesome.
And this is like such a thrill ride, like James Cameron thing. But like when we get the drop, like I felt it. And it's like, it's not 40X, but it feels that way. Like just because of how invested I was in the whole thing. So well done.
I want to give a shout out to just sort of the mix of the team here. Because like, you know, there are other movies of the ilk of like action-y movies where predominantly the cast would be just the dudes. And I just always loved that like Pharaoh was the pilot.
Sure.
Just this badass lady
So
with
cool.
aviators
Cool as a cucumber,
on.
aviators
Just cool
on.
as shit.
Yeah.
Diedrich is cool as shit too. And then Vasquez, you just have a team here that's like, you know, it's a little bit more seasoned than just your standard fare for 80s films.
Halo does the same shit with
Yeah.
the Pelican.
They drop in, they fly around LV, no lights are on, nobody's home, nothing's going on. This is very peculiar, they say. They land, there's a bunch of military jargon, they run the teams like
Now, Langley hit my other favorite line in this, which I still don't know what the fuck it means, but I'm in the pipe 5x5 as they're going through this. They're going through the actual like grid of where they're supposed to land, and I'll never fucking forget. You guys probably are too old for this, but on the Apple IIc, they released an Aliens game
Too young for
that was in the bigger floppy disks.
Yeah, I
there was
remember
like
this.
2 of them. You had to like switch them over, and it started with this, and it was the hardest fucking thing to ever. You had to be perfect because it was like pixel perfect. And then if you thought that was how hard, like, that's not the hardest part of the game, then it gets just impossible after that. I don't think I ever beat it.
Langley says no clue what that means. What does it mean? I don't know. I assume that thing they were flying in was 5x5. I don't know.
Well,
That's how much
I
room they
looked
had?
it up and they were saying like you're perfect. You're 5 by. I don't know. Yeah, this is what it looked like. Look how fucking hard this is.
3, 2, 1.
In the pipe 5x5.
God, I hate how ugly the colors are in this era of games. Like
look
no
at this.
fucks given.
Dude, it was to the point where like I think I'm gonna throw up.
Oh my god!
Like
yeah,
you had
this
to
is horrible.
keep that perfectly aligned with the circle or you go out of it, and the game would just be
Superman
over.
64
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Isn't that crazy? And then the last level of this was you had to find Newt in the alien nest, and you had 5 flares. It was fucking impossible. It was impossible.
I love those kind of games.
Fairy Tale for Hire says 5x5 is related to communications, and yeah, basically means things are good.
Cool as fuck.
Oh, is this looking for Newt?
Yeah, this was just what that looked like, and it was just I don't know if it was randomized or not, but man, I could just never figure out what the fuck I was doing.
No,
here.
where are you? They come in, they do a bunch of different, this and that and whatever, and they infiltrate, and it's cool because they're Marines and you see them all communicating, right? They get in there though, and lo and behold, nobody's there, nobody's home. You know what I mean? Ripley and Gorman are back on the thing with Burke. They look around. They find some acid holes. They find a whole bunch of stuff smashed up, but they don't find anybody. And then fucking Gorman back home says it's all clear.
She's like,
It's not all clear. What are you talking about, you idiot? Like,
it's all clear.
and so they all go out. They go in there. Everybody starts investigating. They find face huggers in the things. Right, one of them alive as it goes blink, against the thing trying to get in Paul Reiser's mouth. Cool.
Again, another
Pretty
little
fucking
retcon
cool.
here too, where they were like, after they die, the molecular acid like oxidizes and becomes like inert. Just a thing. So once the little face huggers are dead, you
interesting.
can cut them open and it doesn't
Oh.
make acid.
Oh,
happen.
gotcha.
That's how
Okay.
he's able to do the sort of like surgery on it later.
Oh, very cool. I like that a lot. Of course, the MacGuffin we get to here is that, okay, well, we're trying to find, there's no colonists here. There's no bodies. There's no nothing. Well, much to Kevin's pleasure, all of these colonists have been chipped. So they all got a chip in them. So if we can find that source, or we find the thing, the thing on radar, we'll know where they all are. So Hudson earns his keep by starting to hack through and find all that, and they're pointing around and stuff. At some point in here, there's movement though. What is that? They look over there. What's something going on? What's that? Oh, is it an alien? Blah blah. Guess what it is? It's Newt.
I wrote before when I just see the movement. I wrote down a note of like this motion detect scene feels like this setup is to set up this movie's Jonesy, and it did exactly that.
Yeah,
and I did not expect it to be a little girl, and it's the coolest fucking thing ever.
Yeah.
I love this. Like
Man, they almost
this,
killed her.
This little girl that exactly, and like
She
that
looks like goddamn Donnie Wild Thornberry, you know?
straight the fuck up. But I love this setup of her.
Oh
like,
yeah, because that's the first time you hear the pulse rifle.
and we know the story of like what she's had to go through, like with all this stuff, and like she's alone here, seeing the picture of her like being this like civilized little girl. It's like
She's like feral.
Good citizenship award.
fuck, man. Love her.
How long
Love
was she
this.
alone for?
I don't know if that's.
It looks like she's
weeks,
been there
didn't
for
they say?
12 years.
Yeah, I gotta look that up and maybe
I
I'll
think
look
they
it up
said
in a
6
second.
weeks.
6 weeks, okay.
I think so.
Because I was like, because that's pretty much how long it would take to get from Earth to this, right? With whatever technology they have for travel.
Sure.
I just always assumed it was like a year that it took for them to get here, but she would not have survived.
Well, because
that
they had
long.
some line about eating, like what they need to eat or whatever. I forgot though. So, somebody will let us know.
I want to give a shout out to the sound of the pulse rifle here because it's the first time we hear it. That iconic, like punchy scream, and then as Hicks kind of like, what the fuck, man? But you hear that for the first time, the guns in this, and then you're like, yep, that's instantly iconic.
Yep.
I also want to give one more shout out, and then sorry,
I don't mind.
I'm
That's what the show's all about,
interrupting a lot.
Jonesy.
During the sort of like sequences where all of the actors were getting a chance to become the characters, James Cameron. Well, first off, he did one really cool thing, which he shot the intro sequence where they wake up. He shot that last, so that all the chatter around would be them after 6 or 8 weeks of actually becoming friends, which is cool. So that's why that scene I think works.
Cool.
One of the other things he did was he was like, "Hey everyone," he brought him into like a locker and he's like, "That's your armor. That's like your life. You get to customize that." And so like Hicks has the heart with the locket.
Oh,
Hudson has a
sick.
badass skull. But one of the funniest pieces of trivia is that Frost, the guy Rico Ross, was dating a woman named Heather at the time, and so he drew a heart on his as like, "Oh, this would be great when the movie comes out if we're still dating. She'll like totally love this." And he wrote HEATH and ran out of space in the heart. So there's, if you look at him, it just has a heart that says Heath in the middle of it. And people on the forums, they're obviously like, well, maybe he was, maybe he was into
I love
dudes.
it. That's awesome.
And Rico Ross was like, you know what? I'll take it. That's just how it is.
The other fun piece of trivia about that, right,
Isn't that
is and we
crazy?
talked about this on Kind of Funny podcast when we were talking about how great Sigourney Weaver is and underrated. We got into all of this a little bit, but the fact that since Michael Biehn wasn't Hicks originally, Jamie, who's
James Remar was
James
supposed to be Hicks.
Remar was Hicks.
Oh, right. Okay.
They filmed with him
And
starting.
he had worked with the producers on 48 Hours and a bunch of other movies. So
Got into some drug business there in London, got fired from the film. They brought in Michael Biehn to be Hicks. But the deal is that the heart and the locket is what
Oh, that's
James
right,
Rico
Remar.
did.
Yeah,
Remar
Remar
did.
did that. Yeah,
He
that's
did
right.
that because he was in that part of the character building thing.
that's
So Michael
right.
Bihn's just wearing his thing with the heart and locket on. I think that's good. Anyways, though, okay. Well, we get Newt's there. We find her. Nobody will talk to her. They keep calling her Rebecca, right? Sigourney Weaver is the only nice person. He's treating her like a kid who's scared or whatever and cleaning her up. And then she starts, only my brother calls me Rebecca. Newt. My name is Newt. I'm paraphrasing here. But they get some information out of her. We understand a little bit more.
Such a
what's
weird
going on.
name.
But Newt as a character to basically be foreboding to the audience is one of the coolest devices I've ever seen in a scary movie. She just has these banger lines where she was like, "You're safe now. These men are trained. They've come to rescue you." And she goes, "It won't matter.
Yeah.
Just it's not going to matter."
It's so damn good. And it's funny because Andy was bringing up the realizing that his dad was saying a line from the movie. I had that too, where growing up my entire life, the amount of times I've heard my brother say, they mostly come at night. Mostly. And I'm like, I didn't know what that was from. Cool, are you in here? You remember that shit? Just giggles over there. Yeah, but like he would say that shit all the time.
And again, another just banger, like, we're going to die. We should just at least get inside.
Yeah.
Just a great moment.
But before all that, what we find, of course, is that Hudson finally makes progress, finds all the colonists. And I mean, all of them. Look at this. They're having a town hall meeting underneath the reactor, whatever the hell it's called. Let's go over there, everybody. They all pile in. They all go over there. They send in the attack team and leave Newt, Ripley, Gorman.
In the APC.
Yeah, and Paul Reiser's character in the APC. They go in. This is where you talked last week. You hinted at the camera footage. It's cutting. It's doing the thing. We don't know what's going on.
We got we have two indications of what's happening for the people that are basically the audience, which are sitting in the APC, right? Which we have the indicator of the live shot of what we're seeing, which is grainy on purpose. And then we have the pulses. And I think in the game, in the Apple IIc game, you had that scene too, where you had to save as many as possible, and they would just be constantly dying on you. But I think this is so fucking cool, especially when we get to the sequence where they find the one woman who is still alive.
Oh my God.
And we can get there whenever
we can do it right now. So you're coming in, and it's very much industrial complex, and then it starts to get that weird alien organic shit.
So I love it because like this is such a turning point in the movie, obviously, of them like actually about to face the aliens for the first time. But even we get that shot of Bishop kind of dissecting the face hugger, and it's like, you know, putting us on edge. We're like, we don't trust the android. So it's like them showing that scene and having it, and how creepy he looked, having it cut to them going through this hallway, and we know we're about to face off against the thing we just saw in the last movie. Like, such great tension stuff. And the use of the screens and stuff I thought was so well done. And the organic shit starting to pop up. I'm like, this is cool.
So the
great
organic
casting
hiving
for Bishop, real quick, just because he has that face that you typecast as somebody that like
something's wrong.
Something's up. He doesn't look like
this guy ain't the full deal.
He doesn't look like an affable, lovable dude. And I thought that's so perfect for that role because you're just like, I still can't trust the guy. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a
Got
great
that bone structure.
great bit of artistry and craftsmanship in this shot when they first walk in. It's the first big wide shot as the camera sort of pans down and you see the ceiling. They didn't have the budget to make the ceilings, and so they did that with a matte painting in front of the lens of the camera. And so if you see the behind the scenes on that, it's really fucking
A
impressive.
lot of matte painting in this
Like
movie.
literally, the camera just pans down, and I think if memory serves correctly, it was like a glass plate that they put like 4 feet in front of the camera.
Yeah.
So the parallax was just perfect. So as it pans down, it just went like kind of that, and you see it. Fucking rad.
Yeah, that matte painting also where they're kind of in their hangar and they show the ships in
that
there.
one sticks out a little bit more.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Yeah, but it's cool.
Like Nick said, they go through this thing. What do they finally find? They finally find a person there, right? I guess we're not there. We would have had the thing in here where Ripley's like, "Huh, aren't they underneath the fucking nuclear reactor, whatever the fuck it is?" And he's like, "Yeah, why does that matter?" And like, aren't you talking about their rounds being explosive or whatever? Like they do that, they're gonna kill everybody and everything. And they're like, Gorman's like, "Fuck, they are." So he
Including
radios
us,
in.
yeah.
Neutered the weapons, man. Like, so fucking good. I feel like they kind of lost the plot there a little bit, unless I missed something. Like, I feel like they just start shooting shit
They do.
constantly. And
Well,
it's like,
they do because that's the
saved
scene
them.
with Vasquez, right? Where he says only small arms and flamethrowers only, and that's why Hicks has he's like, okay, I've got this shotgun. They have one line of dialogue where when he's explaining what the pulse rifles fire, it's like fucking armor-piercing,
Explosive,
incendiary
yeah.
rounds, which makes sense because, and I never noticed this before. There's a moment where Gorman is shooting in the corridor, the air duct, and it like ricochets off of the alien. I don't know if that was just an effect that didn't turn out right, but in my brain, I'm like, oh, those can't pierce the hide of the alien. Whereas when they fucking light these things up with the pulse rifles, and they just explode into a dust,
Bug
it's
juice.
so
Does it come in a jar?
gratifying.
Comes from who you are.
That was good. Good reference. Anyways, yeah, like there's the thing we've talked about already with the passing the bullets and do the thing, and then they get put in the bag, and then the bag gets set on fire, so they don't even have their bullets. They're down a whole bunch of bullets, which sucks. Anyways, they do that. Then they find the woman who says, "Please kill me," when she wakes up or
Holy
whatever,
crap.
right? And then like, what are you fucking talking about? Like, "Well,
And I think the best bit of acting from Sigourney and why I think she probably should have won that year was you're seeing this, and this is now the nightmare realized in real life for her, right? She clutches her chest, like remembering just the pain of everything she's been through as she's watching this. And Sigourney Weaver is just fucking so good in this.
so
one
good.
moment.
I got bad news for you guys. We did email Sigourney Weaver's people about her coming on the show, and we still have not heard back. We did it during Kind of Funny podcast.
Unfortunate.
For a
Don't
second,
watch
I
it.
was like,
Nobody
is
should
she
watch
behind the LED wall? That would be amazing. We
She
made her
comes
wait
out
for
dressed as
2
an
hours.
alien.
Everybody, Sigourney Weaver.
The alien pops out, and everybody looks at it, and they're like, fucking kill it. Brrr, they just destroy this thing, right? But that sets off all the other aliens. Like, what the fuck? They killed my baby. And so then the aliens start coming like, fuck aliens. And then it's just, this is action movie central. You guys call out your favorite kills or whatever, but they're shooting these things. Their heads are popping. The acid's splashing back. People are screaming. Things are dying. Gorman, get him out of there. Pull him back. You got to get him out.
I'm so happy that I don't, for this movie in particular, that I don't have an OLED TV. Because the shots of just the environment and then you see the movement
They're coming out of the
of
wall.
everybody,
So
like,
good.
fuck, man. It is like one of the coolest effects to see and horrifying and haunting to like, it just looks like H.R. Giger's like environmental shit. And then no, that's a thing. And there's
Yeah.
2 of them.
Well-
And there's actually 3 of them. They're moving like, holy shit,
They
man.
do a lot of really cool puppetry shit with them too, where the tail moves independently, and so it really does feel like an organic sort of like demon serpent thing going on. And then they also redesigned the aliens to be more bony and spiky, so it did look more like the environment, which I think really, really lends itself to.
Amazing. And they did that so many damn times, and every time it was cool
got
as
you.
hell.
I
To just
like-
see like there's an actor in the foreground, and then you just see the movement begin. Like, oh my god, that is the coolest shit ever.
My favorite line of the whole movie. It's a line I say all the time whenever I'm about to do something cool, like fucking light up a stage with my comedy
Yeah,
career.
yes, you do.
Is fucking shit starts going down, and Vasquez doesn't even fucking hesitate. She just goes, "Let's rock," and just lights fucking
Yeah.
shit up. And her and Drager's like, "Fuck it, we don't give a shit.
Dude,
We're dying.
This scene's so cool. I love like how scary it is, like all that, the cuts of them seeing the aliens and stuff. The thing I don't like is Sigourney Weaver turning into like a weird like car action movie. Like her driving the fucking vehicle through the stuff.
awkward, yeah.
It's just really awkward. And I feel like this kind of killed the pace of this scene. Like it just felt like out of place, and like we didn't need more action where we're at with this. Like we already got what we have going. Like something about that, it just was like, too much for me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't have that
It didn't
problem
look
with
good,
it.
I
Yeah,
think.
that I agree with. I didn't think it looked good, but I also thought it was just sign of the times.
Yeah.
People are getting on. People are thinking how Sigourney Weaver's drive. Gorman's like, don't do it, or whatever. And she's like, fuck you, and she drives and does the whole thing. And they're going, and she smashes through the wall and throws open the thing. And the people who are there, and we get the really sad moment, right, where people are getting on, and Vasquez gets on, and Drake's about to get on, but then he gets burned, right?
He gets
Isn't-
burned,
Yeah.
and then his flamethrower goes in and starts a fire.
Yeah. All hell's breaking loose. All people are screaming.
They shoddy the.
We get another iconic
yeah,
line
yeah.
where he says, "Marines, we are leaving." Either that, or he said, "Drake, we are leaving," but it sounds like Marines. Who knows? Who knows what he said?
Nobody
But-
knows.
Nobody knows.
And then he
Is
has
that like
that
a
moment.
trivia thing? Is that
Yeah,
a
there was a
debate
moment
through
in
the
one where he
years?
was like, I always thought it was Marines we were leaving, but then I guess Michael Biehn was like, no, he says like Drake, we're leaving. But it just sounds like he said Marines for some reason.
Different cut.
Gorman
Yeah,
gets knocked out here,
Marines
right? I
cut.
forget. Yeah, so because he's gonna be KO'd for a little bit. They pull the fuck out. They start driving. It's crazy. There's an alien on the back for a while. Yeah, alien's on the front and tries to punch in for Sigourney Weaver, and they knock that fucking thing. Yeah, it's fucking cool. And then
She runs over, and like luckily that acid didn't.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's the power of the Cybertruck.
Yeah.
They keep driving, right? And finally, like Hicks comes up and he's like, "It's okay. You can
grinding
stop.
gears,
You're okay. Yeah,
you
you're
broke,
grinding.
you
It's
broke
fine."
the
Really
trans
cool.
axle. You're just grinding
Yeah,
gears.
very cool.
Power it
Very,
down.
very cool.
Power it down.
I love that
Another. And again, we haven't really talked about Michael Biehn in this movie.
We haven't,
But
and we need to right now.
He makes a lot of really, really good choices with this character. And Cameron later would go back and say, like, thank God we had him in that, because Remar was playing the character, like, wanted to play the character a lot more like macho, like gung-ho, I'm the guy. And Michael Biehn has talked about this, and he was like, I really wanted to play this character like a little bit more reluctant and a little bit more like sensitive, because I thought that would play well with Sigourney Weaver's like power in the scenes. And he goes, I didn't want to subvert that. And so you have those moments where he's like, just like really power it down, you're gonna be okay. And then you have the best moment, I think, in the film, which I think comes up next, where they're trying to decide what to do, and she goes, I think we get up to the Sulaco and just nuke this whole fucking place. And Paul Rudd is like, you don't have the authority to do that. And she goes, well, technically I don't.
Corporal Hicks does.
Corporal Hicks, this is a military mission, and correct me if I'm wrong, Corporal Hicks, but you're next in charge. And Michael Biehn goes, yeah, I am.
It's so good.
I love
It's
it.
so reluctant and
So
so
good.
perfect of like, he doesn't want that, and he knows that Ripley is actually the one that should be leading this team, so he's going to let her lead, of course.
But he parrots the line that she says
goes,
to be like, fuck you.
Yeah, that's what
I'm
we're
just
doing.
gonna do whatever she says.
Eat it, Paul Reiser.
God, it's so good.
Send you home to Helen Hunt.
He's awesome.
So they call back up to the Pelican to get what's
She was in
Frost.
Castaway, right?
Frost and
yeah.
Yeah.
You were
wanna
love of my life. Remember that?
Oh, what a movie.
But you moved on in like 6 months. Like, you know what I mean? Like, chill out.
Titans lost the Super Bowl against the
Yeah, that was
Rams.
a cool moment.
Yeah.
That was a cool moment. But again, like, he was gone 5 years. Like, she already got married and had a kid. Like, okay, hold on, pump your brakes here. What are we
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah, we get Frost and Spunkmeyer over there, who somehow are completely and totally oblivious to what's going on with the rest of these people.
They're not. We're not getting the communication like that up there.
Yeah, I
It's a
guess
big deal
not.
to communicate up there. They communicate up there. We need an immediate pickup.
You bringing up the
Sorry,
Super Bowl?
Farrell and Spunkmeyer.
I saw a comedy bit a couple days ago on TikTok that just fucking blew my mind because this is real. What year did Pablo Picasso die?
Oh
70 something.
no, way later than that. Like 93, 4, 5.
I would have guessed 1700s.
Wait, like 1994? You said?
Yeah.
Really?
What?
Like
What is it?
1978 is the answer.
Oh, fuck me.
Close enough.
But like,
I
I'm with you.
Yeah, I would have guessed he
Like,
was
the whole comedy bit is like,
1800s,
like,
1900s.
like, did you know that Pablo Picasso was alive for multiple Super Bowls? And I was like, no fucking way. Yeah, he
I took a
was.
lot of art history classes too. Just don't
That's
remember
crazy,
it.
Andy.
Man,
None of it sticks up
90s.
here.
That's crazy.
But, like,
I mean, it's one of those things where
He was a
I thought he was.
contemporary Joe.
Yeah, I thought he was more contemporary and whatever. Because I don't know. It's like art. First off, who fucking cares? You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of great art. Andy does a lot of cool stuff. The posters were out. This is cool, but it's like one guy draws it blue and like puts a shader on it and be like, oh, it's fucking. It really is blue. Like, what are we talking about? You know what I mean? Like, what are we talking about?
Get a real fucking job.
It's like the same thing with the Beatles. Yeah, they're a good band. But like, and I get like, don't get me
here we
wrong.
go.
Before everybody's like blown in a jug, like these guys got a guitar and a drum, and everyone's like, "Holy shit! I've never heard anything like this."
No, there was
Except
a
for the
lot-
entire African American community, but I've never heard anything like this.
There was a lot of music that had already bands. Like there's a lot of guitar.
I'm just saying they're not. It's great. They're clapping in their songs. I'm enjoying it, but it's like,
they didn't
you know,
discover.
they're not fucking Taylor
guitars.
Swift. You know what I mean? We walked home on Penny Lane. We wrote a song about it. That's the whole fucking thing. The thing Andy just did with the aliens and Ripley, that was way better than. They got a fucking melody, all right? Sabrina Carpenter and the Beatles are hanging off a cliff. Who are you going to save? What are we talking about? You know what I mean?
I mean,
got
four
Juno.
of the Beatles are already dead.
Yeah, what are we doing? You know what I mean?
3.
I was just rolling with you, Jonesy.
Yeah.
I was just
I was
rolling
just
with you, Jonesy.
I was like, McCartney's still alive. I think maybe Ringo is
McCartney's
too.
still alive.
Is Ringo still alive?
Ringo's still
Ringo's
alive.
both of them. Yeah, Ringo and McCartney.
Okay.
The Pelican gets
Ringo
the message and
dyes his
says,
hair a lot. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
time to come help everybody. The one guy was outside taking a piss or a smoke or whatever. He comes in, he's like, hey, why is it gooey? There's a goo on it. You know what I mean? And we know that's not a good sign. So they take off and they start flying towards him. And what do we see? We see an alien come through, right? And he kills that guy.
Sick,
And then the
dude.
door slides open. She's like, whatever, boom. And turns around like, oh, fuck. Boom. And then like we see it from their perspective of it. It just come in and just goes sideways, crash, boom, explosion. And everybody's like, fuck. And is this where we get game over?
This is where we get game over,
Yeah.
man.
Game over.
He's like, well, this is great. And then it's in the
Yeah.
background. He's like, game over, man. Game over.
Of course, without that ship, there's no way for them to get back to the Sulaku up in space to nuke the goddamn place. But they also can't tell the Sulaku, hey, we should just drop a nuke or do anything. And they go, actually, why don't we just radio up there? And they go, actually, we can't. We're not powerful enough. And then they go, well, actually, the colonists got a whole bunch of fucking antennas down here. We go over there. We do the goddamn thing. We do the thing. They might have, I think, oh, yeah. Sorry, this conversation happens inside like the Air Force tower, air traffic control. Outside, this is where you get the everything goes to game over button. She's like,
she's like, we should go inside now.
They mostly
They
come at
mostly
night.
come out at
Mostly. What's the deal with that? Is that a fuck up, or is that like how the line was written?
No.
Because like for me, it would be like if like they mostly come at night, mostly. Where I would have been like, oh, is the line supposed to be they come at night mostly? And she dropped a mostly in there, so then she did. Then we mostly come at night.
No.
Mostly.
Well, no, it's like just say like they
hear you.
do come
Like
at
they
other
usually
times.
come
I'm just
together.
saying. I'm just saying.
Also, nothing scarier than like it's not like they're afraid of the dark. They just or the light. They just mostly come out at night because that's when they're sleeping the rest of the time.
And then she goes into like a 19-minute diatribe of like, because sometimes they sleep and it looks like they're hibernating, but they're
fucking
not
hate it.
actually asleep. They're actually, some of them have a very low tolerance and they ate and so they did it, but some of them just die early when clearly it was fucking asleep.
But it's
Like I
inter-
can't
but it is
stress you
interesting.
enough how much that was just a sleepy alien Andy's fucking dad.
It was dying.
To back
It wasn't
up,
dying. It was clear the desk.
to the desk.
You're the
No, you're good. Don't do that. Every time you do this, I'm afraid you're gonna break the
Please
desk.
don't.
I mean, why spend all the money on the outfit if we're not going to use it?
How much did you spend?
You know what, Kevin? That's not important. That's not important.
It really is.
It's
though.
not important, and that's something between me and Nick because we had the votes.
We did have votes.
Was it sleeping? Was it breathing? It's an alien. Nobody knows. All right, everybody. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to our favorite segment here on Alien versus Predator in Review. Is it sleeping? Is it breathing? All right. So again, can I get Nick's mic? I'm gonna need that because I'm gonna get. this is a physical activity.
Move the
Wait,
coasters.
Okay.
Oh, the wireless mic?
Yeah, that one right
There
there.
you
Thank
go.
you.
know
Audio
what it is?
listeners, he's gonna get on the table in the alien costume. Fuck.
I don't think anyone will think this is an exaggeration. All right. So as we remember, it was like this, and then what happens? It goes. And then Ellen Ripley runs all the way over to the other fucking thing and does a whole bunch of shit, and he just goes, nom, 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 nom. And he goes like this, all
Oh,
right?
he's gonna fall off the desk.
Now, is that sleeping or dying? Because again, as an actor, look at my IMDb. All right, if I'm cast as the alien and the phone lines are open, Fox, all right? someone send all this to John Drake. Doesn't he have an involvement with the games now? I could be mocapping right now, Drake. If I'm alien and I'm dying, right, it would be a lot of this. You know, and maybe like grabbing something if there's a pain, because if I'm dying, something's happened with the pain, Andy.
Of course.
I thought it was the
I don't
Converse
need you to
for
turn
me,
around and look at me.
but it's actually the exposed like wrist area.
I'm just saying, guys, we can put this to bed. Andy's dad doesn't have to be like this, all right? Focus on bigger things,
Look
Andy's
at the
dad.
man walking. Just look at the walk.
Gets it in the middle. I got rid of the cup after the Captain America outfit, and I should have kept it.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Andy, I sent you a text real quick. Can you
Oh.
can you pull that up when you have a
Yeah.
second? Just show that to Tim.
Here we go.
Please send that to assets.
That's an alien boots
Please,
right there.
please send that to assets. Please show the world. Oh my good lord.
Back to it, all right?
Yeah.
All right.
They have the sick ass future tech table. You know, you gotta love the James Cameron
Let's-
special, but
let's
let's
have-
stand
let's-
around a video table.
Can we talk about one thing though?
Of course.
What the fuck? Who the fuck did these architectural plans for this? It's so confusing.
And Ripley just fucking knows it.
This
thing here that looks like just a line.
It's just a bunch of. I was watching this on Discord with Chris Ankel last night. I was like, Chris, you're a designer. Does any of this make sense to you at all? I was like, no fucking way. There's none of this makes any sense. It's so confusing to the eye.
They figure out, of course, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to seal ourselves up in here. Bishop, you're a cool android. Maybe. You're going to go out there. You radio up there to the Suluku, and you say, hey, send down the cuckoo. And they're going to send down the little thing to pick us up, right? And we'll go back. Come on, Tim. That was great.
Gia just
Can
bought
I get some fucking credit once in a while from you,
You
Tim?
definitely can.
God damn.
Gia just bought a rice cooker for the first time, so my life has changed for the better. Very excited about this, and it's from a brand called Kuko.
Okay.
And
Does it play a little song when it's done?
it does.
Yeah, of
and
course.
it talks to you.
That's my asshole, everybody.
It plays a little song.
Sorry, Andy's dad, if you're watching.
He loves
when the
it.
rice is ready, it goes, rice is ready. Kuko.
Oh, that's really cute.
Like,
Okay.
this is some Greg Miller ass shit, so here we are.
And the Bishop's like, that's a great plan. Yeah, I can go out there, no problem. I mean, I'll probably die, but I'll do it. Don't worry about it. And I'm like, all right, cool. So then
I love that line from him, by the way, where he's like, yeah, just because I'm synthetic doesn't mean I want to go do this. Like,
Yeah, real cool, right?
It's really awesome.
And so yeah, they all start doing like, you know, the old montage, running around. We're free. We're cutting. We're welding. We're doing this. We're doing that.
We have a great moment where they put it in the pipe.
Dude.
And it's
Horrifying.
Oh yeah, you're right. I forgot about that. It is a great moment.
Unbelievably claustrophobic for me to
Yeah.
watch this.
And-
now.
Holy shit.
And
But he has-
Dufresne.
A great.
Yeah.
He has a great bit of just physicality here, where I think it's Hudson or someone hands him a pistol and he goes.
Yeah,
And he hands it back to Ripley. He's like, "What the fuck am I gonna do with this? Like, I'm not that guy."
Yeah. So yeah, he crawls out there like Andy Dufresne and eventually starts working on the thing in the rain.
Could you guys do this scene? You think you could do this without freaking out?
Mm-mm. No chance.
Once I got in there and I realized I could move, I'd be okay.
What would you have to channel? Like, what would you have
Are
to
we
pretend
doing?
you were
Am I
being?
acting for
Yeah.
John Drake's game? I can do no problem.
I'm saying, like, Greg, I need you to get in this pipe. and then crawl 40 feet. It's like not even close.
The thing about it is
way.
it's a clean pipe. Again, I was talking about the shot. I made an Andy Dufresne there reference. Shawshank Redemption.
Crawl through
He
10
goes,
miles of shit.
yeah, he
water.
goes through a fucking poopy water. I couldn't do that.
He throws up a
That's
couple.
just way too. That pipe doesn't even look like he can move the way he's moving,
Yeah.
and somehow he's still doing it. So shout out to him, but like it
Yeah.
doesn't even look possible to move in there.
I'm not being.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not trying to
agree.
be. This isn't a joke. I need you to start getting your head wrapped around this because you're the smallest guy we got out here right now. So if this ever happened, if we ever needed somebody
It's
going
either
to
you or
pipe,
Barry.
it's you.
Going into pipe, Andy.
Yeah.
You're gonna be piped.
Yeah. See, I don't want to be in this pipe. This is gross.
I mean, my whole life I was the guy who had to stand on the garbage in the back
Oh,
to
sure.
like push it down
Yeah.
into the garbage thing.
Dude, you
Did
say
that
the
work?
The
word.
smallest?
Yeah, I mean, did that because pretty much. Yeah, I was like, you're
you ever wanna
you're
relive
agile,
it.
just climb up here, get on the fucking thing, and just push it down so that make more room for
If you
trash.
ever want to relive that day, man, I tell you what, Mondays is tight sometimes for that Tuesday pickup. You can come
Yeah.
over. You can come over. You can be ball with Ben afterwards.
All right.
All right, cool.
Your reward.
I'll make you a shrimp linguine.
Ah, nice.
We had a throwaway line here too, or not a throwaway line, but a little scene that I don't think I ever really understood, where he's like, "Hey, by the way, see that little thing that's coming out, that plume of smoke? This whole place is gonna explode in 4 hours."
Yeah.
I never understood why.
I think it's because nobody's been taking care of stuff. Nobody's been venting or
Well, they
whatever.
allude to the accident caused it, the crash of
Oh, did
one
they?
of the ships.
Oh,
they said something like that, but I was like, but it was in the middle of fucking nowhere.
I'm glad
There's
you're
no way
bringing
that would
this
have
up
done
because I
that.
was
forgot
kind of
about this.
confused
Good
by
point.
I was
this.
Good
so
point.
confused about
I
that.
liked it though. I liked the stakes, and I liked Bishop being like, "Oh man, well, it's a 40-minute crawl and this, that, and the other. It's gonna be close. Gonna be
Yeah,
close."
it's gonna
Yeah, I
be
was like,
close.
"Yeah, I like that a lot. I like the closeness of it." Bishop crawls through the pipe. They are done reinforcing the place, or they're still in the middle of it. And then Newt's like, yawn, and Ripley's like, "You should take a nap, Newt." Yeah, you know what I mean? Kind of like the Titanic lady, one of the
Napping
kids.
Newt.
But I'm not gonna kill you.
So at this part, like going through the movie, I take notes as we watch, like in order. So I'm at the part where him crawling through the pipe because I just have Bishop goes into vents, whatever. But then I wrote, what are kids getting inspired by today creatively? And I don't know why I wrote that note
Great
down,
question.
but it must have just been like, this movie's so inspiring. Like it's so
TikTok.
creative. There's just so
Skibbity
much cool
toilet.
shit.
Yeah.
Like
I agree.
it's just, man,
I
like,
was that kid.
this turns into so many different things, and you can see it here, and it's like so
Yeah.
impressive to be like, wow, this is either the origin or the most mainstream version of the shape of things. Even the like, I don't think we talked about it yet, just the big ass crane arm for the big gun, you know?
Oh yeah, I was mentioning that earlier.
Like, oh,
The
that's so
monopod
cool.
arm. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Another little small detail I loved, even though we didn't love the car, I like the way that it was kind of designed with those sort of like spokes covered up or whatever. But when it re-enters one of like the little parking things, the gunner in the back,
Yeah, folds
rotates
down. Yeah.
to like it's really neat.
So anyways, Newt, let's go take a nap. Ripley puts her in her bed. She angles a little space heater at her.
Flicks her nose.
She starts to be like, "Oh, don't leave me." You know what I mean? I know this one all too well. Let me tell you. And Ripley's like, "Look, there's a camera there. I can watch you. I'll be watching you from the control room. Everything's gonna be hunky dory. Don't worry about it." Then some of the
Great
stuff I
lighting
said
in
there
the scene,
happens.
by the way.
Oh, great lighting. Yeah,
Because she turns on the warmth of the space heater, and it's really the only time we're seeing like orange,
Yeah.
like more warmer hues than this. The rest of the movie, really, if you look at it, is lit by like blue light.
Yeah.
Like everything is this ghost, like alienish blue light, or red, which indicates like, hey, this is bad. This is the only time we get a soft source on both of our, actresses, and who are having this incredible tender moment.
Why is it like this movie's so blue? And I feel like even the first movie had a lot of blue in it. Why is it that I associate green with the movie so much? I mean, I guess the logo even has
Poster, yeah.
The
has
logo.
green. Why'd they do that? Like, I wonder
Alien
why.
3, I think, is more green, if I recall, right?
I want to say it's orange.
It's true. It's muddy brown orange, but I think
Yeah.
there's some green in there too.
I don't know. I think it's just because the title sequence is green. But the rest of the movie, if you look at it, like they purposely lit everything very cold and very blue.
Yeah, I mean, there's like very little green in this. It's just like
Yeah.
it's surprising because like the entire like treatment of the marketing is green. But
Yeah, the egg light, right?
Egg
Greg,
light,
you
yeah.
mentioned you've definitely been through the situation where a little child is, you got Ben being like, no, don't leave me or whatever.
Daddy pet.
I just pictured Ben being like, no, Daddy, there's a man in an alien costume outside my window whenever I go to sleep. He's like, it's okay, Ben. It's just Greg doing it the whole
Me, I
time,
gotta practice. I gotta be ready for a review tomorrow.
climbing outside in the.
Like I said, order this was juxtaposed, I think, a little bit, whatever, right? So we jump back then to Ripley looking at the monitor, doesn't see Newt. She goes in there. Newt is sleeping underneath the bed, of course, because she's been sleeping in trash for weeks, and that makes her feel a little bit more at home. Oh, and this is also Ripley had just gotten the gun tutorial from
Yes.
Hicks, which was very cool and another very sweet moment between the two. Not like romantic, but like very tender of like teach him this and then I go, no, you're gonna you showed what about this? That's a grenade launcher. You're showing me how to use it. You use the whole
She's
thing.
like, I'm
They've
in,
got
in for a penny,
a
in for a
cool
pound.
camaraderie, and I forget his little line there. He's like, okay, buckaroo or something like that.
Well, he also gives her the motion tracker where he's like, it's not like we're engaged or anything.
Yeah, it's funny.
And she like kind of smiles at it. They have a nice little flirtation.
They'll flirt, yeah.
I mean, yeah, you know, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So anyways, she sees Newt's not there, goes in, finds she then lays next to her on the ground underneath the thing. She falls asleep. Something else probably happens with the Bishop stuff out there. He's looking at things. It's raining. He's doing little avid keyboard again.
Yeah.
And then Ripley wakes up and notices immediately something's wrong. You know what I mean? Something's wrong. I think she looks out and can see the container that had the face hugger in it. Two of them knocked over. And so she reaches up for the gun. The gun's no longer there. And she's like, oh, fucking shit. Newt, wake up. We're in trouble. And then here we go. Hit the song, Andy. Face fuck 'em. Face hug 'em. Face fuck 'em. Face hug 'em. Face fuck 'em. This is the segment, of course, inside the podcast, Face Hug 'em or Face Fuck 'em, where we decide if the face huggers in this Alien/Predator movie were great, and we will say, hey, I want to hug these guys, or they sucked, and we say, fuck them. They're not part of our team.
This is a big hug.
Big hug for you?
The movie was already kind of off-putting, right, and kind of scary in a lot of moments. And they found a way to make these guys and their movement, coming from the first one, where, you know, you get some kind of like goofy-looking puppetry every once in a while. The movement in these things was horrifying. I thought they kicked ass, and I was terrified anytime that they were in play.
Did you think it was a little too easy to fight them? She pins them to the wall with a bed. One gets on her, but she's able to fight it off a little bit.
Well, I mean, when the one was on her and they required two humans to like, fuck it, it already started the strangulation.
Yeah.
Scary.
I was really impressed by, I guess also their acting opposite of it was terrifying. And as they're in that room and they're trying to break the glass, knowing that like this X factor is out there in the environment, terrifying.
Amazing reveal here too of Burke being as bad as we know he is going to be or whatever, right? Where they're screaming at Hicks for the camera and he just turns it off and then goes back to talking.
Well,
about
also that it's not a dream. I feel like, you know, that James Cameron's so good at like the setup and payoff stuff, like getting the dream sequence interrupted earlier, but now it's like, no, their fucking nightmare is real. So cool. I hug these guys.
I'll fuck with them. Yeah, Cameron.
that'd be bad.
Then I'll hug him. Then. Cameron, this is one of the things they point to in the documentary where Cameron had used, you know, he worked in a lot of like lower budget films, and so he had a lot of tricks of the trade to make things kind of come off realistically, whether through lighting or the edit or these little things. And so the shot that really sticks out, and the one that he talked about, was when this face hugger runs across the floor, jumps up onto the little cylinder, and then jumps at Ripley.
Dude.
Like they had to do that in multiple stages, and there's little cuts that hide all that stuff, but they like had to play some shit in reverse and all that stuff. And it's just really, really cool how they could do all that practically.
And sells it, man. That shot's incredible.
The Marines get there on time though.
How do they?
The way it's running, man, it's fucking terrifying.
Yeah, right there. Isn't that cool?
They get there by Hicks
she sets
fucking diving through the glass,
I'm
dude.
sorry, I thought you were going more literal. Of course, yes, since Ripley lights a fire to set off the sprinklers, which is a very cool move, very outside the box thinking. Yeah, they get there, and then they blow through the glass, and then Hicks jumps through the glass.
It's so sick.
Have you ever seen the South Park episode where they do the 24 parody?
No, but I
Maybe
want.
once,
I love that.
It's incredible. I mean, anytime someone jumps through a window, I just think of like anytime like Cartman is obviously playing Kiefer Sutherland in this episode, and it's always like we got to stop them, you know. And then like he just jumps through every window he got, and the glass breaking. I love how dramatic this all looked. It was awesome.
It was a good stunt, man.
Yeah.
They kill the one face hugger, no problem, and then they rip the other one off and blow that one away too. And then immediately without missing a beat, Ripley's like, "It's Burke.
Yeah.
Burke did this or whatever, right?"
She had that conversation with him prior where she was like, I'm going to rat you out, basically. Which, again, why? Just feel
Why
like,
tell him that?
Yeah, don't tell him that. But she was like, he figured if he
wants to get an alien through the. He wants to get an
Quarantine or
alien back
whatever.
through the quarantine. The way he would do that is put it into me and Newt. We would get through that way. And then also, you're the reason all these people are dead. No, I'm not yet. As I found an email or whatever that had the whole thing where you said, "Hey, go investigate the thing," because I said it in the meeting, and that's what's kicked all this off. And now we're all dead.
Awesome line from
I never
much
caught that.
earlier in the movie.
That's
how we
why.
knew.
That's why it's
That's
so
how we
convenient.
knew.
That's why it's so convenient that it happens here.
Awesome line from much earlier that I meant to bring up that I just really enjoyed was Ripley, this is a multi-million-dollar thing. You know, we can't just destroy it. Send me the bill.
Yeah,
Loved
that was great. That was
Awesome.
really good. Yeah, when he didn't want to blow up.
Also, what's up with
colony.
Tim? Like he saw I was gonna go to the restroom, but I had to come
I didn't
back
know
for
what
the
you were
face
doing. I
hug
thought
and
you were
face
stretching your
fuck down.
legs.
I was gonna go to the restroom.
Listen, there's a lot going on here with an alien and Jonesy, so like I can understand the star power that you wouldn't be able to keep up with it all. You know
Just
what I
really
mean?
needed to pee.
Tough.
Well, you still can. I mean, go right now. There's 2 bathrooms. Me and Nick can hold down the ship. Don't worry.
No,
about
I'll wait
that.
for Tim to come back.
Okay, God
Yeah.
forbid the content. Be good.
Mm.
Man, he cracked a beverage out there.
I heard
Tim, bring me a Coke. That sounds great. You know what I mean? Who doesn't love a Coke?
Who
Recap
doesn't?
Classic, you know? Recap juice. They throw all this at Burke. They're like, you're going to go to jail. You're in trouble. We should kill him. We should do this, blah, blah, blah. But guess what? They get motion right. The aliens are here. The aliens are coming for him.
Now, a moment where we should stop here and talk about the extended edition.
Okay, please.
Have you ever watched it?
I never have.
So the extended edition adds a lot of time to this, and it's not my preferred cut because of that. Because I think the movie's already long as is.
Yeah,
and
people
it
were mad
moves-
at you in the comments from last week.
It moves at a great pace, but I think the extended scenes do a couple things that both add and both detract from it. So Tim, I don't know if you've seen the extended edition of this yet or not.
No.
So the extended edition starts on LV 426.
Oh.
It starts with Newt and her brother and her dad going out to investigate.
No
Or
shit.
maybe it doesn't start that way, but we cut over to them at one point. It might start with Ripley. But we cut over to them driving out and investigating this, and then Newt's in the car, and then a second later, the mom comes back with the dad with a face hugger on him. We see the colony. There's I forget what. There's a notable. I think Melissa Joan Hart's in like the
Melissa
background.
Joan Hart?
I want to say it was her as like an extra. There's all sorts of, and so you get a sense of what Hadley's hope, like this colony, it sort of is. They cut that out because of timing. They were like, you got to fucking make this movie way short. It can't be like 2 hours and 30 minutes or 40 minutes long. For theaters back in the time would have worked. So they cut that out, and I think it's smart because it gives the whole planet and the entire setup of this way more mystery, and it gives the relationship with Newt, like that character is just so much better in my opinion. So in that regard, I think that is detracting from the story. But what I wish they had kept in were the gun turrets. When they're setting up in the extended edition, you have much more sense of how long they're in the HQ for.
Oh, okay.
And there's a scene where they go, we have to block out these corridors, and we should put turrets here and here. And so there's a really fucking rad. And it's better in this movie, I think, a little bit because it's more tense with the motion sectors. But in that movie, they know they're coming, and there's just shots of these gun turrets just fucking waylaying like hordes of aliens as they're coming down hallways.
Sick.
Awesome.
But you're seeing on their side the ammo go down, and then finally they go, we're out. Fuck. And that's when Hudson and Vasquez go out in the hallway, and they're like, now we have to figure out where they are. But the scene just starts.
That's so
there.
cool.
It's fucking cool as shit. But they cut it out for timing.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah. So again, we have the motion detectors here.
Sorry, my apologies.
Please, no, I love all this. I
Jessica
love this.
brings up the other incredibly important thing where there's actually sequences where on the space station where Ripley investigates her daughter and finds out that her daughter's dead because her daughter just died of old age because was like 70 something.
The
And
Interstellar
so that
effect.
plays into isolation, which is when I was saying last week that isolation happens in between the two movies.
Yeah.
Kind of retconning it, but Amanda was like in her 30s when she went out to look for a mom who had been gone for 20 or 30 years. at that
Oh,
point.
okay. So wait. That's the plot of.
That's isolation is you play as Amanda
Sick.
Ripley,
Cool.
and she's like, I'm looking for my mom, and she gets word that they found the communicator from the Nostromo, like the black box, basically,
Yeah.
and she goes to another space station to like with a crew to basically figure out what the fuck happened to her mom.
That's pretty fucking cool. Did we hear that she has a daughter at any point?
No, they cut all
Yeah,
that out of
okay,
here.
cool.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because then it changes the dynamic slightly with her and Newt. So if you knew she had a daughter that had died, it just makes it a little bit more.
Why she's such a good mother
Why she's
and
such a
what's
good
why
mother
this
and why she
means so
takes
much
to
to her.
this little young girl, which you
Yeah.
don't need, but it's interesting.
Yeah.
One question I had for you, now that we're talking a little bit about, or we are spoiling Alien Isolation to a degree. I saw yesterday, or when we did the Kind of Funny podcast, and we were talking about Sigourney Weaver. She's listed in the credits of Isolation. Is it new content, or is it just her black box? Like
it's the black box.
Soul
This
Survivor.
is Ripley, is Soul Survivor of the ship Nostromo. I think she may have recorded a couple new lines for it because you do go back. There's elements of that in the game, which is really really cool. But yeah, I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
That's all I remember.
Motion detector. They're here. 10 meters, 7 meters, 6 meters, 5 meters. That's in the room. 8 meters. That's what it's fucking
She's like,
saying.
I'm reading it right. Well, or she's like, this thing is right. She goes, well, you're not reading it right.
Yeah. And then Hicks goes, wait
Oh,
a second.
fuck. And they look
it comes
up.
up and
Dude, so again, talking about all the tricks of the trade, the photography of shooting these things crawling on the ceilings is just a trick of the camera, right? They're just crawling upward and
Yeah,
you rotate the frame or whatever it is, and all of a sudden they're on top, or they're crawling along the ground, you rotate the frame, and that's just how you shoot it. But the way they crawl everywhere is so fucking cool. And they look like bugs kind of rippling out at you.
Yeah.
And Hicks has that great moment where I don't know why he's looking left. He's like, ooh. And then we just see that shot. He's like, fuck. And they fall through the ceiling and we start the sequence.
And again, just balls to the walls action here, shooting acid. It's happening. Burke notably immediately is like, peace out, homies. See you guys later. I'm going back out the back door.
Another little fun piece of trivia was that the editor of this film said that this was by far up until that point this sequence or like the scene, all the action sequences were the most amount of cuts he's ever put in a movie up until that point because it cuts so much. But not only that, James Cameron had learned a long time ago. He was like, hey, if you want to make a bullet impactful, you splice in one frame of white. And so if you look and you pause it correctly, every single shot that anyone takes is a fucking white frame. And they had to do that by hand, splicing in a frame of white.
Cool.
Just cool as fuck.
Very cool. All hell breaks loose. They're killing aliens. Aliens are jumping at them. They're attacking. People are getting bit. Shit's Burke slips away. Burke, you son of a bitch. Eventually, they try to go over there. Vasquez has got the cutter still right, and she's cutting through the door, and she cuts over there. And then Burke's doing the thing.
Tension in that sequence. Man.
Totally right. Burke locked himself in another door, but then he's getting out the back. He thinks he's getting free. No, he ain't, motherfucker. There's an alien there.
You're done.
Get him. They all, kill enough to get to a place to get to the back door, right?
Yeah, and then they get to the
smear.
back door, but they got to go through the vent.
They go to the vent.
Right.
Because they can't get through that one. There's not enough time. That thing start banging through, and Newt goes, "Let's go this way."
Yeah, classic.
And then Newt takes
She
over.
knows the whole layout.
Yeah.
You know.
We
She has at one point, she's like, "This, no, wait, sorry, this way, my bad."
We get down to Michael Biehn, Newt, and Ripley on the weird Ferris wheel thing to get over there.
Which is wild. This movie feels like there's so many characters, and then pretty instantly it's like, oh, we're down to 3.
Well, because Vasquez stays behind a little bit, and again, proving why she's MVP is crouching backward as she's lighting aliens up as they're coming like all around her, and they're screaming for like Vasquez, and she just gets overwhelmed. Shoots one, it burns through her leg. And then Gorman, of course, in his redemption arc, goes back for her.
So good, man.
He gets pinned down. They see the aliens coming above her and grabs one of the little
What
things.
does she say to him? Like,
she goes, "You always were an asshole, Gorman."
Yeah,
and he goes, "Pick," and she puts her hand over it, and they just both kind of like,
dude.
I loved
Very
her
cool.
reaction to getting the acid because there was such a devastation that this is the end.
That's it.
I'm not gonna survive. And like she has this moment where she's like touching her arm. She's like, "Oh no! Like fuck! This is over." Oh man, it's such a good like. Her kind of bringing that emotion out was awesome, and then that explosion. And shout out to Michael Biehn for the nice little improv, sticking the gun in the gear thing it doesn't stop moving. Really good.
Part of this movie
Clutch
I
play
was
from
scared
him.
at most when I was a kid was her sliding down to the unknown.
yeah,
Where she's
for
holding
sure.
on and then just goes down. I was like, "Fuck, that's terrifying." Like,
Yeah.
where are you going?
Oh,
What's
dude.
down there?
What's down there's water. She ends up in the water. Newt. Ripley and Biehn are chasing her because Michael Biehn had given her the tracking bracelet to Sigourney Weaver. Sigourney Weaver gave it to Newt. Newt has it now. They're using that. They're running down levels to get there, of course. They get there. She's underneath the metal grate. They start cutting through the metal grate. Of course, an alien jumps up at the very last second.
Yeah.
They kick in the thing. They go down there. It cuts, actually, right?
Great moment here between those two where he's cutting and he's trying to concentrate and she sees him on the motion sensor coming and she goes, "Hicks." He goes, "I know." She goes, she goes, "Hurry." He goes, "I know." And like you just have that moment where they're trying to kick through the fucking thing to get to her. And then I think, and Chris Anka would agree, the most iconic sequence is the alien rising from the water behind her with a tail that kind of comes first and flips out. And then she has that wonderful scream that she does.
It's so good. I'm just taking her, though. Brutal shit, man. Scary.
Yep. They grab her, drag her off. Is this where Hicks gets
Hicks
injured?
gets, they go to the elevator and the alien goes, "Pah," right? With the little hands that are inside.
Oh, yeah.
Opens up, he blows it away and it just goes, he's like, "Get it off, get it off." And has
Well,
to
they
take off his
had
armor.
that exchange also where she's like,
They don't kill her immediately. They just take her.
Yeah, they don't
Look at that.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
but
yeah.
what
it's
is it
so
that
good.
Sigourney's like sort of telling him? She's like
They don't
she's
kill
not
you
dead.
immediately. Yeah, she's not dead.
She's not dead. And he's like, I know. Like it's really really cool.
He's like, "I know, but we gotta go. We
Yeah.
can't stay right here because they're coming for us."
Bishop's mission was successful, of course. He's called down the ship. He comes over to meet them. They load up Hicks. He says, that's right. She's like, "I'm going back in. I'm going to get Newt. You don't have much time. There's the countdown clock. There's
And then
new
Hicks,
mother counting down." Yeah.
Again, bad motherfucker backing up Ripley. She goes, "Don't let him leave." He goes, "We're not going anywhere." As this like half his fucking face is melted off. He's like, "We're not going anywhere." And then we get probably the most video game thing ever in a movie.
Yeah.
Of course, the dropship has shit on it.
Yep.
It's got pulse rifles and things, and she
Let's
just
tape 'em
lays it down
together.
and tapes them together.
It's so sick. It's just such a good, like, we're bringing this with all we got. Like, let's amp
She's
everything
grabbing
up.
flares and putting
So
them in her
cool,
pocket.
Puts on
man.
that badass like harness so she can have all it's so sick.
She infiltrates, drops flares as she goes, trying to find Newt. Right, she's killing aliens. Right, gets down to like her last something or other, and I was about to give up. Right, and then
Well, she finds the tracker.
right,
She goes,
that's it.
She starts crying
Yeah.
because she's like, damn it, now I can never find her. And then Newt screams.
Newt
because
screens because the
alien's coming out of the
facehugger is
egg,
opened
yeah.
up on it. Yeah, Ripley goes over there and nukes that motherfucker. Don't worry about that. Gets Newt out, then starts carrying her like this. Some great dummy work here that I never noticed. as
Not
a
the
kid.
best dummy
But
work.
It's not. It's just
I
like,
didn't notice. That's
just
funny.
like this, like
Oh,
fucking
that's
clearly
funny.
fake, like thing. Because
Yeah,
of course,
her
Sigourney
hands
Weaver's
are
not
just
running
so
around with
fake.
70
I
pounds.
was
Trev.
so into it, man. This sequence was so goddamn tense that I didn't notice anything. I was so in it. It's not only her shooting the facehugger, saving Newt, but then, gunning the alien on the wall that's kind of coming after. And I just all of like, I wish I had a reaction. I wish I was recording my reaction for when she walks in the room and all of the eggs are there.
Yeah.
Because I was just like,
Well,
oh
it's-
my God.
We had dropped
is
this line and never
perfect.
gotten for earlier, like where they are talking about this line. I've seen all these eggs. There was hundreds of colonists. There's all these eggs. Like
what laying them?
what laying them? Yeah,
Yeah.
you were saying.
A masterclass in sound design.
Oh yeah.
Because it's chaos, alarms, things. She bursts through the steam, and all you hear is the steam kind of go away for a second, and then it's just quiet. And then we cut to the wide shot of where she's at, and she's like, "Fuck."
Damn, man. This whole sequence is just, I don't know if you could have directed it any better. Like, it was amazing.
Incredible.
Queen's there, notices this. Ripley's walking back slowly. Then we get like the Queen's Guard aliens. They've got cool stuff on their head. Look like they're like serious dudes. You're like, oh, you're the big deal, right? And what is it? She has the flamethrower and like she motions to the eggs. Is
She
that what
blows
is?
it first and then puts it toward the egg.
Right.
Like,
and so then
She
and
blows it
then-
to show them,
good.
hey, this is what
This
this
is what
does.
this can do.
Yeah.
Queen tells the dudes to stand down. They
Back
go
off.
back into a
Back
holding
off.
pattern. Ripley walks back a little bit more and then it's just like, fuck it.
No,
Yeah,
no,
the
yeah,
egg,
yeah,
one
the
opens,
egg
one
opens
opens,
up,
one
and
opens,
she
one
does
opens.
she just goes like this.
She has this awesome look. You son of
like
a bitch.
motherfucker,
Yeah,
and just lights that shit up.
We had a thing. We had an
we had a
agreement.
deal.
You were cool.
This is a deal.
Ah, it's awesome.
The
Lord.
Queen screams, and then on top of the fire, she starts fucking blowing away his little egg sack bullshit over there. You know what I mean?
Just
Whatever.
start pumping grenades into the egg sack. Nasty.
Ripley and Newt fall back. Queen's had enough. She rips her ass down from there and drops down. There's the chase. There's the thing. There's the stuff. We get to the elevators. Ripley gets on calls the elevators. Gets on her elevator in time, just in enough time. Door closes. She goes up. Then the Queen's like, "Wait, that's another elevator. I see
Yep.
what's up." She gets in there and she goes, "Ding." Ripley gets up. There's the
The
whole
Queen, like, can you hold the door, please? Can
Yeah.
you hold the...
You got the whole thing, screaming about like, isn't Mother the same voice?
What's that?
Isn't the Mother voice again?
Oh,
'Cause
maybe
it's
the
the
one
same
who's like,
countdown. Yeah.
this will die in
Yeah,
1 minute.
exactly.
Yeah, this
I
whole
thought
thing
that was
was-
interesting.
Oh,
This
that might
countdown.
be. That's cool.
She gets up there. There is no plane. Curses Bishop.
Bishop, goddamn you.
Yeah.
Turns around, sees the doors open, and out of the darkness comes the alien queen, and she just goes, "Close your eyes."
Yeah.
As the ship. And that iconic, by the way, I don't know, you guys probably don't remember this, but I'm sure you've seen it. They used this lick, bam, 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 in every fucking trailer from 91 on to like 2000, where they just aped this shit because it was so good.
So
as
good, man.
As she jumps on it, of course, there's the moment where like, oh, the fuck, the queen get there. The ship slams into the garbage, and that's theoretically how she got up into the little thing. Who the fuck knows? And as it's going away, everything just
Oh my god. man.
Amazing.
It's so cool.
Intimidating. Do you think it's over?
I did.
They
I
thought it was
legitimately
done?
thought it was over.
But I was
cleared
like,
it
when is the mech scene?
And this is the
Different
next scene.
movie? What the fuck?
They land
Only
right.
12 minutes left.
They come down out of the thing. Yeah, she's like, "You did great, Bishop," and he's like, stab through the fucking tails there. But like, what the fuck is happening?
so
He gets torn in
fucking
fucking
violent.
half.
It's
There's
so
milk everywhere.
violent.
You're like, holy fucking shit.
yeah.
She
Stan
tells
Winston, man. Fucking that half body on the ground.
So good.
Looked awesome.
this is where she tells Newt to get underneath the railing or whatever, great hide. She runs in, Ripley runs in, goes, shuts the door, gets in the loader. We've already talked about this scene a bit, right? Alien mom or Queen's tearing shit up, trying to get to Newt, and then she comes out in the whole set. What happens, Nick?
The door opens. Backlit. Power lifter. Shoo-goo,
Awesome.
shoo-goo, shoo-goo, shoo-goo. Get away from her, you bitch. So then that fucking thing just like, and then we have this. I love the scene. Granted, yes, if it had done now, it would be fucking wild. But it's also hilarious too how they did this. I think there was a guy behind her, right?
Yeah.
Actually doing like walking it for her. There's a lot of different puppetry things they did here, but just the sound effects, sugoom, sugoom. And then of course they're fighting. We get that moment. I don't know why they have a little flamethrower right here, but I always thought that was cool. She's like, then she goes, okay, I got the bright idea. I can remote open the hatch that's going to the air vent. And she picks up the fucking alien, picks up the alien queen who's hissing, goes to throw her. The alien queen realizes what's going on and pulls a fucking judo throw, whips the tail around, and they both flip over. It's awesome and super violent, just slams. And you get one moment where if you pause it correctly, you're like, oh, that's clearly a model. But I remember the people who had shot that scene were like, we didn't see any of the miniature work. They're like, wait, did we shoot the power loader? Because it goes by so fast and it's so well done. They're like, did we shoot the queen and the power loader like flipping over? How did we do that? And they're like, oh no, it was miniature work.
Oh shit,
that's cool.
Really cool.
I didn't realize that. That's awesome.
Then there's this big standoff, right, where Queen's trying to get sucked out. The thing's getting sucked out. So when he gets out, she hooks her arm around one of the ladder rungs. And then Newt starts getting pulled, and Bishop's getting pulled, and he grabs something, and he grabs Newt. And then
In that moment, I was like, fucking Bishop, man.
dude.
He rocks, dude.
Maybe he's MVP. I don't know.
I forget what happened. So I forget how
As she's holding on, she looks over and there's an emergency thing there where she can open it. She opens it, it gets sucked out, it grabs onto her, and then the Reebok saves the day because it rips her pant, but the shoe comes off, and then the alien just goes.
as Reebok
Floats
always
out into
did.
space.
She slowly pulls her way up, closes the thing. All's well that ends well on that front. What she puts Bishop's dead or no? They put him in the thing. Right?
She puts him in the thing with a little milk sack. So
Yep,
he can-
that's right. That's right. Thank you. Michael Biehn, where do we leave him?
He was sedated on the
he's
drop
he's
ship.
in his tube too.
So he's in his tube,
All right, cool. And then Ripley's ready to put Newt down too, and herself.
and Newt says, "Can I dream?" And she's like, "Yeah, we can."
When
think
she
we
flicks
both
her,
can.
the reverse flick.
Yeah,
Ah.
I'll fight.
Loving, caring.
That's where they came
Yes,
up.
and-
And then it ends.
And then we end on the same shot we had before, but it's this time it's all of them or it's her and Newt in the pods, and we just fade to the stars.
Fade away. What a movie.
What a fucking great film. RaGu BaGu.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast within a podcast that started it all. Red guys, talk bad guys. This time in the AVP universe.
Yep.
So far, we only have one entrance from Alien. It was the Xeno, Facehugger, and Ash. Where do we want to put Aliens, all caps, Burke, and the Queen?
I think number 1. Burke is perfect. He is
Yeah,
fucking
he kinda
perfect in this
is.
movie. He is such a
I totally agree.
likable, slimy piece of shit. And Paul Reiser Paul Reiser, who obviously you think of now, you're like, this is
Mad
one of the most
about
like
you.
likable guys ever. It's perfect casting to put him. He's so disarming.
For some
trying to
reason,
get
I
Paul
want
Reiser
to
on
argue
shit.
for the first one, but the sleepy stuff throws it off for me. I'll go number 1 for this.
Number 1 for me.
I agree. I think this is the more compelling cast of villains. I think we were great with number 1, but the sheer volume of Aliens, that's terrifying on its own, right? Yes, Burke being a piece of shit, and then, of course, let's take it up to another level and give this giant queen the thing. Great stuff.
Yes. Now it's time to rank the Alien and Predator movies. Currently, we have Alien at number 1. But where does Aliens 2 fall? Well, I voted Alien 2 at number 1.
I voted Alien 2 at number 2.
I voted Alien 2, Aliens at number 1.
I also voted Aliens at number 1.
So the rankings so far at number 1, Aliens, and number 2, Alien. Where will Alien 3 land?
Shout out to Curran for doing the math. on that.
Yeah, shout out to Curran for making a spreadsheet. We got it all. It's going to be math, and it's going to work. Okay, everybody? No one's going to fucking complain
Nope.
at this
Oh, here we
table
go, here
or
we
in the
go.
comments. Okay?
I don't even read the comments.
Guy took a
Is it for this?
3-day vacation and comes back even more cranky. You know what I mean?
fucking hate everybody. Except for Andy. Let us know what you think about Aliens in the comments below. Remember, next week we are doing the Great Marvel Re-Rank. It is sure to be an amazing episode, going through our personal lists and then the overall new list going forward for Kind of Funny's Marvel movies. That's going to include all of the MCU, all of the X-Men, all of the Spider-Man movies, and then eventually when we add Fantastic Four later in the year, we'll do that as well. Until next time, love you all. Goodbye.
I'm going to take a nap, as all aliens do.